Yeah, Frank here. He's got his own billiard room.
Yes, it's what do you call it, Kramer?
The billiard room.
No.
The name.
The billiard? Not the billiards. It was... Come on, Rudy. Come on. We call it the
place to be.
The place to be. Yes, it's the place to be.
Then I shall be there.
Now, it's time. Live and in living color. The Grandy Man can.
Time to play the game!
Well, you always left me satisfied and smiling, so...
That's what she said.
Why do I want this?
Yeah.
Because I want to make bank, bro. I want to get ass. I want to drive a Range Rover.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is now time for the Place to Be Podcast. And now your hosts, Justin Rosero and Scott Criscolo.
Place to Be Nation, welcome to another great episode of the Place to Be Podcast. I am your co-host, Justin Rosero, and with me, as always, is the man who was the inspiration for that Edgar Winter Group album cover, and that is Scott Criscolo. Scott, how you doing?
Is that the cover with the with him standing there and the wind blowing his long beard and hair in the breeze, or is that okay? Yeah, the creepy thing. Good evening, JR. Yeah, it is very funny. Actually, that's not my favorite Edgar Winter song, but that is a great cut. And debuting some new action tonight. Welcome, everyone, to episode 82. The year that one of the greatest feuds in the history of professional wrestling... Hey, it's only been a few minutes. I'm sorry you didn't create this feud, Vince. But the feud between the Von Erichs and the Freebirds began in 1982. That was, of course, when Kerry faced Ric Flair in the cage at Christmas Star Wars or whatever and smacked him in the head. And tonight, of course, it is Wednesday or Thursday if you're listening early in the morning. And that is, of course, meaning it is the Headlines Cornucopia of Fun and Games edition of this week's Place to Be podcast. And to commemorate this moment, as I have an episode of NWA Championship Wrestling running in the background, Ivan Koloff is facing, and you'd appreciate this, JR, a then unknown jobber by the name of...
Coco Beware.
Ray Trailer.
Oh.
No.
Ray
Trailer.
I will be monitoring for us because we like these live events going on. And there's number 9, Pittsburgh. Against Long Beach State right now. They are down 11 at the half. So,
wow. Yes, the 24 hours of hoops, right? Is that today?
No, that was Monday, I think.
Yeah, Monday.
It was either Monday or yesterday.
Tuesday midnight.
Yeah.
It was Monday. It was midnight going into...
Who are you to doubt El Dandy?
No one ever doubts El Dandy, Brett. Yesterday there was some great games. URI went down to Austin, almost beat Texas. It was a high-scoring affair. Of course, we must mention it now. The great game, very emotional game at the arena at Harbor Yard on Monday night as the Friars of Providence defeated the Stags of Fairfield 80-72. Great game. Ed Cooley got a standing ovation.
As he should.
And he was very emotional. It was actually, he had some tears in the post-game presser. So he said the first thing he said was, "I'm glad this day is over."
Yeah.
But it was a record for the arena for, you may not think this is a lot because your arena is bigger, but a record for the arena in Bridgeport for a college basketball game, 6,375.
Very good.
It was slamming. So anyway, we'll keep tabs on that game.
And along with that,
let's go through the run.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll share with the nation that I having some back ailments and currently took some muscle relaxers before the show, so I'm hoping to make it through without sounding like Matt Rotella throughout halfway through.
Great. So if you play that chocolate clip by Jake Roberts, it's not actually going to be you saying it.
Yeah. No.
By the end. You certainly hope not. But anyway, all right. Let's go through the rundown because we have a pretty busy show tonight. Of course, we will give you our Raw and SmackDown recaps. Although this week, as we've pimped the last couple of weeks, a special way of doing it this week, or a special edition, as my PIC was with my friendly mortal enemy, Rob Houston, Monday night at the TD Garden in Boston for Raw. And, of course, I will talk about...
Yes, your cunt is in the sink!
You got to see him live. How about that, huh? And
I
then,
don't do any tricks.
I didn't get to
he
see
wasn't
him
there,
live.
though. He wasn't there, though, so... and then, of course, I will talk about Tuesday night, myself and the Lithuanian lover boy there, Matt Rotella, at the arena at Harbor Yard in Bridgeport for the SmackDown taping. So And then we will go over Survivor Series, do our picks, as of course it is this Sunday, live from the home office, Madison Square Garden. The pretty much full card, right? I don't think they'll add anything at the last minute. There's really nothing to add, right? Probably not.
No, they added a Divas match, and that's probably it.
Yeah. So we'll go over some stuff about that. We have a question from a listener, an email pertaining to a storyline, a great storyline going on SmackDown right now, and wondering what the progression of that storyline will be. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about social media, my PIC's favorite topic, and Twitter. Well, it is pretty funny, Vince, considering you talk about it every 2 minutes on Raw. We'll talk about that. And, of course, we'll go through the news and notes brought to you by our good friends at WrestleChat.net. Of course, the Place to Be Nation Asshole of the Week. Last week it was the entire Penn State University, particularly Jerry Sandusky. And, of course, we'll give you some new things that developed. Nothing crazy, but a few things that developed over the last 7 days, and we'll talk about it. Of course, they played on Saturday at home against Nebraska. And so we'll talk about that, of course, and give you the Asshole of the Week this week. We'll give you an NBA update, which just gets more and more despicable by the day. Nowhere near as ugly and as tawdry as the NFL lockout was. Some hot stove notes.
What kind of disgusting, despicable...
Yeah. You know what, Lex? You'd be better at these pressers than having to listen to Billy Hunter and Derek Fisher. And I love Fish. But then, of course, some hot stove if we have time. And your boy... You know, we might have to do the Your Boy Awards, JR, at the end of our end of the year, you know, the predictions we made, because I did predict one of the postseason awards. So we'll have to get into that. And some signings and stuff.
What'd you predict? Verlander?
I also want to comment. Huh?
What'd you predict? Verlander?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I did.
You really went out on a limb. That's like your...
well, hey.
That's like your I'm picking the Broncos doing the West at 6-10.
They won 3 of their last 4. But anyway, it's not as big a deal as the Ravens sweeping the Steelers. But anyway, I also want to talk about the new and absolutely hideous uniforms that the Miami Marlins are going to wear. Have you seen them? Oh my God,
I didn't think they're that bad.
Oh, they're ridiculously gaudy. In my opinion, I think they're gaudy. But anyway, we'll talk about that, and of course, we'll wrap up with your NFL Week 11 picks. And I know it's going to be painful, my friend, but we're gonna have to hug it out for you this week.
Oh,
at least that game's first. So, there we go. There is your shopping list of fun and games tonight here on episode 82 of the Place to Be podcast. All right, let's get down to business. You and my friendly mortal enemy, he's a good guy. I like Rob. I'm just kidding around. You and Rob Houston, Monday night at the TD Garden in Boston. Now, my first question to you is, you showed me where you were sitting, which is pretty damn impressive. Were you able to see clearly the 2011 Stanley Cup Champions banner?
You're going to kill me, but I didn't even look. You know, it's funny because when you're in there...
Arg!
When you're in there for wrestling, you don't... I don't know. You don't even, like... It didn't even hit me where we were, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, in there, we got there kind of late, so the action was already going, and you kind of... You don't really sit in there and soak in the arena you're in. So if we end up going for the Bruins game this year, we'll see it. But
yes, no, we will. We shall be going, yes. No, I was just curious. That's all. Just asking. All right, lay it down me, my friend. Well, how was the evening with the president of the Hacksaw Jim Duggan fan club, Rob Houston?
It was very entertaining, very fun. We were 11 rows up off the floor. Just, I'd say we were even with like the announce table, so we weren't really dead center to the ring. We were just off center, and we were on the behind the camera, so we were able to see the whole the hard camera and all the setup there for the music and all that stuff too. We're right behind that, but seats were very good.
Oh, good.
Probably the best seats I've had in a while, actually. So. The Open, obviously we saw them set up the ring, so we knew what the Michael Cole challenge was before he revealed it all. And once we saw the scale, we figured, it would come down to that. So Cole got some good heat. JR got a good pop, as you'd expect. The biggest pop early definitely went to CM Punk, who came out. He got a monster pop. Everyone was very into him. And I saw it, and I actually made a point of not reading any reviews, or usually I listen to the weekly review away from Live Audio Wrestling of Raw. And I made it a point this week not to do it because I saw a few things out there that people didn't really like the show, and I had a great time. And you know, when you go live to a show like that, a lot of memorable things. I try not to let any other opinions really sully my night. So I'm probably going to be a lot of praise for this show, whereas a lot of people may not agree. But when you're there live, it's just different, especially seeing a lot of the things that we saw live. So and especially with the group I was with, no kind of smarkiness or anything like that. Rob's a very a big fan, a very positive fan, and the other guy, Larry, who we were with, is the same, and Ralph is kind of a casual fan. He came with us too, so I didn't have to worry about that. And for the first time in I don't know how long, there were no morons or nonsense or riffraff around me. It was actually a very nice atmosphere. I didn't have anyone like when I was at Survivor Series 02 doing commentary in my ear the whole show, or anyone else to talk about sending notes to websites or anything. It was nice. It was just a good. We had some kids in front of us. Actually, the seats in front of us must have been like comp. I think our whole area was comps because Rob actually won his in an auction. So the seats in front of us actually rotated a bunch of times. It was kids and it was a couple other guys, and the kids came back. And I actually got a little video on my phone of these two kids freaking out when Cena came out. They're going crazy and they were rapping along with the song, which is pretty funny. So, but yeah, so that was good. Laurinaitis actually obviously came out, and him and Punk went back and forth, and Laurinaitis is pretty hard to hear live, I will say, because of his voice. But like I said, Punk definitely got a big pop, and when he put Cole in the Anaconda Vice was really cool. Kind of brought back memories of Mick. I think you sent me that text, Mick and Shane back in late '98 when they had the title change. So that was a good little moment there. First match Sin Cara and Kofi against Cody and Hunico. I like Hunico teaming up with Epico and Primo now. It's kind of neat. I saw Epico and Primo wrestle a tag match for Superstars when I was there. We had just come in during that match. I like the little look. I like the group. I like the music and everything. It's kind of neat. Primo and Epico actually look... Is Epico... He's not one of the Colognes, is he? Because they look alike.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
he might be. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They just happen to look very similar. So.
Yeah.
So
no, I don't think they have any other brothers.
Yeah, so that was pretty good. Cody, as of course we saw now, no longer has the face mask, and his music is now different as well.
Yeah, I'll get into that too because he came out on SmackDown too. I have comment about his music. So
okay, yeah, Vicky came out. She had good heat as always, as you'd expect. She announces that Dolph Ziggler will be taking Christian's spot. Christian, of course, is injured at a house show in Europe. So he's off Survivor Series. Dolph Ziggler now in that spot. And then he fought your Fabio there, Mason Ryan, but it was only a couple minutes. Vicky got on the apron and slapped Mason and got DQ'd for her man. So Ziggler, of course, started to run, and Morrison came down, threw him in the ring. And then, of course, was the first big moment when Mick Foley came out. We were wondering what he was going to be doing at that point. And, of course, we got the infamous now, John Cena, This Is Your Life. And immediately I started hoping that our boy, John Sr. was going to be there. And it's funny because I had actually texted our friend John Walters, AJ Brewer, earlier in the day to see if Senior was going to be there, if he could get us backstage, kind of joking. And he said he doesn't have that kind of pull. So, but once we saw This Is Your Life, I was hoping that we'd get a Senior. And of course, we're not disappointed. First, we had the old baseball coach, but that was quick. And then we had Bull Buchanan, which I marked out for. I thought that was pretty awesome that they dug him up. And he does the whole, I got fired, divorced, lost all my money in the Ponzi scheme. That was pretty funny. And Cena, I thought it was pretty good here. All his facials, kind of like, what the fuck are you doing right now? And I thought Mick was good too. He kind of had this little smugness, like he knew this was a bad idea, but he was going to do it anyway. Of course, then Senior comes out, and he was awesome, ripping on the fans and saying, you should respect my son, you should love my son. He gives all he has, and Cena's kind of like, oh, come on, Dad, what are you doing? You're embarrassing me. And so John Senior should be on WWE TV, I think. The guy is an awesome talker. We've seen him live, and I thought he delivered here on a big stage like that. He didn't flub a line at all. He was tremendous. And he's just got such a great voice. So that was awesome.
Yeah, he does.
Of course, then he leaves, and Foley starts teasing they're going to have one person to salvage it. And of course, immediately I thought it was going to be Yurple, and it sounded like it the way he started describing the female. And but then came the biggest mark-out moment of the night when the Rock's music hit. He comes out, everyone jumps up and starts going crazy, walks to the ring, gives Foley a rock bottom, turns around and leaves. I thought that was awesome. We were dying in our seats, laughing our asses off at that. It was just caught us totally off guard, and the way Rock did it was just tremendous. And I don't know if anyone complained that, oh, what a weird way to have Rock make his first appearance or not, but I thought it was good. I thought it worked well, and kind of a tongue-in-cheek to the Rock and Foley relationship that always has its up and down. So. Sheamus and Swagger, they had a pretty good match. It was long. Sheamus won that. He was pretty over as well. Of course, throughout the night, we had Zack Ryder little segments backstage, and he got a big pop every time he was on TV. And then I'm going to get to the post show in a minute because he played a major role in that. Divas match was nothing, obviously. Laurinaitis, I guess we missed this part. I don't think they had the audio, but he said that Brodus Clay was not going to be on that night, and he'd be on next week. So once again, that's pushed back.
On camera, by the way, on TV for that was in a skit. a backstage piece.
Yeah, he was on. I think we saw him on the phone, but we couldn't really like. Sometimes the audio doesn't kick in right away, so it takes a minute to hear it. So I just didn't hear who he was talking to. But I guess that was what it was. So, and then of course was the big anchor match, Punk and Big Show against Del Rio and Mark Henry. I liked seeing my boy Ricardo Rodriguez live. That was awesome. And Del Rio and Mark Henry pick up the win there. So, solid match again. Punk was obviously the most over. Santino comes out, which was the excitement, much excitement for Rob Houston, who was hoping to see him. And then, of course, what we were hoping for would be that the man Kevin Nash is in the house. And once the NWO music cranked up, we got into that. So Nash came out, and that was pretty funny, too. They were arguing, of course, over who had the bigger Royal Rumble moment. And Santino did the trumpet, and Nash hits him with the jackknife, hits a quick promo, and then takes off. So good stuff there from Nash. Keep him in the spotlight, even though he's not going to be at the pay-per-view. Barrett versus Orton, of course.
Does he look better now? Well, does he look better quickly? Does he look better now, though, than when he did when he came back 8 years ago?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. He's definitely in great shape. I just noticed that seeing him live, just how he looked very lean and definitely he looked good. I thought he looked pretty good. I mean, he's going to obviously be exposed once he starts wrestling, but just physically, he looks a lot better than I think even than he did at SummerSlam. You could tell he's probably been working out. So,
right.
You know who I actually wanted to comment on, too, that looks way taller and just bigger than he does on TV is Jack Swagger. That dude is big.
Yeah, I'll mention that too because he was on. He was with us Tuesday too, and I agree with you. Definitely much bigger than I thought too on camera. It's definitely different when you see these guys like 50 feet away compared to like on TV. Easily. Yeah.
And I liked
there's a few other people I'll comment on too.
I like seeing Mark Henry kind of in this role. It's the first time I really get to see him live, as a force, which was neat. And of course, Orton and Wade Barrett had a match, and that was just an excuse to have all the teams brawl, as you'd expect.
Right.
Then we get the main event segment. Rock comes out to another monster pop. And I have the whole entrance on video on my phone, that and him doing the whole, I was up at 6 a.m. or 3 a.m. and this and that. And, we'll get into the Twitter stuff in a minute. Of course, Rock definitely went over the top with it. But it was pretty funny when he's like, by the way, this is trending now, kind of thing. And Boots to Asses was pretty... something you would think maybe was a little lame when you first heard it, but then the crowd just started picking up on it, chanting it on their own, and it almost caught Rock off guard. You could tell he was like starting to laugh a little bit, like, wow, I definitely didn't see that coming. And of course, that was Rob Houston's new favorite saying, Boots to Asses. So that was good. Truth and Miz come out. They give their little thing. Cena comes out, and, they do the whole thing where they don't refuse to talk to each other, Cena Rock, and they keep going back and forth. They get a couple good shots in on each other. Cena said, "Oh, you've been bringing crappy messages for 7 years and via satellite." And I thought Rock was funny, saying he's not used to having support from someone who's hit puberty. And the lady parts was funny too, and saying Cena's lady parts now trending worldwide. And then of course Miz and Rock hits Miz, and they get into a brawl. And the only thing I didn't care for, I know what they were trying to do, have Rock stop Cena and then hit the rock bottom himself instead of the FU. But I really thought they should have had Miz and Truth lay them out to build some heat for the show. But the more I thought about it, and I was talking to Rob about this, I guess their goal isn't to build heat. I think everyone knows, and everyone knows that Miz and Truth are not winning that match. So I think they're just trying to sell this show on, can Rock and Cena get along, and will they fight? I think that's really what they're selling the show on at this point. So that was clear to me as soon as they had Miz and Truth not get any heat on them, because they got laid out. So what's the point of having a match? You know what I mean? It's pointless.
Right.
So to me, they obviously don't care about that. They just want to set up that. So after that, they left, and Cena hung around ringside, and so did Miz and Truth, and then Punk and Big Show came out, and Mark Henry. So the main event was set to be Cena, Punk, and Orton. I'm sorry, not Big Show. Orton came out. So Cena, Punk, and Orton versus Truth, Miz, and Henry. Out of nowhere, before the match even starts, a huge Zack Ryder chant breaks out. We want Zack, or we want Ryder, something like that, like echoing throughout the arena. So and Punk and Orton and Cena are all kind of like smirking and looking around. So Punk takes off, runs to the back, and he's gone for like a minute and a half. He comes out with Zack Ryder, who's like in his street clothes, because you could tell he's probably getting ready to go home. So Ryder comes out, and he's getting a monster pop, and he's like looking out to the crowd, kind of like, wow, thanks. And Punk and Orton were just loving it and Cena on the apron. They were just laughing and smiling, and they ended up having a 4-on-3 match, and Ryder ended up getting the pin at the end. And he gave a speech as we were leaving. We could hear him, and he was saying how, 9 months ago, I was doing these videos. I had nothing to lose, and I said, you know what? I'm either going to get noticed or get fired, and that was my goal. And he thanked all the fans. Very emotional. And seeing what came out afterwards, and we'll get to that later when we talk about Survivor Series, I'm wondering if this played any role in the way he's being treated now, or if I'm not sure. But all in all, a great night. I want to thank Rob, but I do have to bust him up. At one point, I wanted to thank him for getting the tickets, so I said, let me grab you a soda. So I go up, and I'm like, I'll take 2 souvenir sodas. The guy's like, $17. These fucking things were $8.50 a piece. Now, the cup was pretty nice, I'll say that. It's a nice collector's cup. So I'm like, fine, whatever. So I go back, give Rob a soda. So after we're walking out, we parked in the lot that you and I know. We've parked in many times. We're getting into the car, and I'm like, Rob, where's your cup? And he's like, I left it. I'm like, you motherfucker, you know how expensive that thing was? I would have got you the fucking medium. I'm like, I got you the souvenir cup. And he's like, he felt bad. So I told him, I said, I know, I appreciate the ticket. I said, but I have to bust you up on the show about it. So thanks, Rob, for leaving the cup behind for the cleaning crew to get rid of the $8 fucking thing of soda. Jesus. So there you go. That was my night at Raw. It was a really good time. Again, thank you to Rob for having me. I had a great time. My first live show since we went to Backlash, right? I think. What was that, 2009?
Yes.
So I've been to other live shows, but I haven't been to a live WWE show since April of 2009. So that was a good time. I had a lot of fun. It was a memorable show to see. Got to see The Rock, got to see Foley. Who knows if I'll ever see The Rock again, you know what I mean? So that was a nice kind of one-time thing. And obviously I'll probably see Foley at some point. But it was really cool to see him back as well. Lots of fun. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about your night?
All right. Well, the following evening, the Latvian lover boy and I, Matt Rotella, who got the tickets from his cousin, who works for WWE. So we, I think, sat in the comp section as well, at the arena at Harbor Yard for SmackDown. And when we got there, they already had the ring set up, and they obviously, unlike your show, of course, the SmackDown taping has a lot more stuff in front. Because not only will they do superstar matches, but they also did NXT Redemption, which of course is on the website, I think tonight. I think they posted tonight or maybe last night. And so we get there, and the first match is Justin Gabriel. This is a dark match. This was not taped. Incidentally, the ring, by the way, the seats were amazing. I showed you a picture. The seats were great. I think we were also in the comp section because there were a bunch of schmucks in front of us. And unlike
did you got those from your vendor, right? Or did you buy them? I forget.
What?
The tickets. Your tickets
came
from.
Did
you buy them or did you get them from someone? I forget. You don't have to tell me if you're not allowed to say.
No, I got them. No, I just said, yeah, no, I got them. No. I didn't buy them. They were from the Lithuanian Lover Boys source.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So they were given to you. So yeah, you probably were.
No, yeah. So we were. No, that's what I'm saying. We were in the comp section.
Okay.
But what I was saying was, unlike you, who had a nice group around you, I had to have 5 drunken assholes in front of me who kept getting up every 5 minutes to get beers. And we're moving around, and poor Matt, the guy kept standing up in front of him, and he was cool. He wasn't a dick, but he just kept standing up every ring entrance. I got to stand up, and I got to sit down. Another ring, and I got to get up. And then we had next to me, it was me, Matt, and a coworker of ours and his wife. So it was 4 of us, and Matt got the tickets through his company source. I won't repeat that again, and I thank him for that. We met him at I've met him before, but I got.
You did this last time. You said you weren't going to talk about it, and then you told every inside scoop he gave us.
Yeah, well, anyway, but we don't know who it is. It could be anybody. Could be the guy that put the decal on the building. Yes, sir. Anyway, the seats were great. Doesn't matter when we got them. Anyway, so we sat there, and next to me, because the row we were in butted up against the cameras. We were actually next to the hard camera. So we, in essence, were looking pretty much the way everyone else will look at it on Friday night.
Yeah, I think you were pretty much almost the same seats.
Yeah, they were. We were probably on the other side of the camera than you were.
Yeah.
You were on the announce table side. We were on the ramp side. So it was roughly the same. Of course, we were closer, but our building was obviously 10,000 less seats than yours, so it was a little tighter. I had kids sitting to the left of me who were complete mocks. They were, they did, wins and losses. They were excited about winning and losing. And sometimes you look at that and you're like, I kind of wish I was still like that instead of the grizzled bastards we are now. But they had a good time. They seemed like they had fun. And the Connecticut National Guard was there, so they honored the veterans.
Because Lou Albano is a big, fat, sloppy pig.
Well, none of these guys, National Guard guys, look like him. That's for sure. They were jacked. So they get a nice round of applause. So the opening match, this is the dark match. This was on No Show. Justin Gabriel came out and he took on. Now, these idiots on this website, who I'm not going to name, and obviously WrestleChat.net's information is better. I'm looking closely, and Matt and I are like, who the hell is that guy? That guy's huge. But I recognize him, and I don't know who it is. Well, it turned out to be Kenny, meaning, of course, Kenny Dykstra, Kenny from the Spirit Squad, but he went by his real name, Ken Doane. Mm-hmm. And he's got to be, I'm not kidding you, man, he's got to be about 40 pounds more muscle.
Wow.
I mean, he's definitely bigger now than he was. Yeah, he's definitely bigger now than he was. And he looked good in the ring. Gabriel won with the 450. But he looked great. Kenny looked good as well. I hope maybe they'll give him a shot, come back.
It's funny
now,
too.
The
because
last show I saw.
It's funny too because, as you may know, those who follow us on Bigelow34proboards.com, we are reviewing late 2006 when the Spirit Squad's really starting to break up and they're positioning Kenny as the main top dog. And I was just thinking the other day, I wonder what happened to that guy. It's too bad they dumped him. He seemed like he had such potential, and they were building him up to be such a player, and then he just vanished. So it was kind of funny when you texted me and you said Kenny's back. At first I thought Shamrock, and I was like, oh, that'd be fucking awesome. And then when you told me who it was, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Would be.
But it was just funny timing that we were just watching him, and I was just thinking about him.
Oh my God! If they ever brought Shamrock back, it would be the greatest moment ever.
But no,
it was Kenny. But he definitely. Yeah, he definitely put on about 40 pounds of muscle, but he looked good. But Justin Gabriel, of course, won. Then they started up the NXT Redemption, which goes on the website, and they did an in-ring skit. I guess the old Abraham Washington show on ECW, which of course was a colossal failure. It is now the Percy Washington show, given the same graphics and everything. So Percy Watson, who was one of my favorite guys on that second season of NXT. I liked him. He hosts, and he brought out Titus O'Neil, who is another former NXT guy who's back. Redemption, for those that don't know, NXT Redemption is the seasons all guys that were kicked off of previous NXT seasons. So it's all guys that are familiar. Out comes Tyler Rex and his, I guess, manager, Kurt Hawkins. And I got to be honest with you, JR, I kind of dug this little combo. Kurt Hawkins, he had like the cane with the big silver thing on top. You'd have appreciated it. A connoisseur of managers. So.
Yeah, I do follow Hawkins on Twitter, and he's pretty funny. Of course, he's a big Jets fan, which I dig. So I do like him. And if there's anything like his former partner, Zack Ryder, I think he hopefully has some kind of future.
Yeah, he did a great job. He was, they were cutting some good promos. The only guy I don't like, which they pimped the crap out of, is this guy Derek Bateman, who, and I don't agree with Matt Rotella often on things, but he does look like Andy Samberg. Looks just like him, Andy Samberg on steroids. But he came out and was talking. I guess he's dating Maxine. Maxine is a former, or he's engaged to her in storyline. Maxine was a former girl on the NXT season with the women. And they had a whole thing. And then out came Stryker, who I guess still hosts, and they set up matches. Percy Watson was facing Derek Bateman right there. And then the main event of NXT was Titus O'Neil against Tyler Rex. Tyler Rex is freaking gigantic.
Yeah.
He is a big dude. And again, as you mentioned, when you're a live show and you see these guys and they're maybe 50 feet or 100 feet away from you, they're big. And Tyler Rex is jacked. So the first match was Percy and Derek Bateman, and Percy's got some good moves. I think he's a guy that I think has a future. I got to be honest with you too. Watching these guys, I don't see why don't they just create some tag teams. I think Triple H, the booker, not the character, Triple H should really look at these NXT guys and make tag teams. I think Percy Watson and Titus O'Neil would make a great tag team.
Yeah.
And they really need to use these guys. And I think they should influx the tag division. Why the hell not?
Yep.
It's low maintenance. They're not. You don't have to worry about them flubbing promos or whatever. Just get them out there for some low maintenance tag matches and give them some experience. I think that's what it's meant for. So anyway, Percy Watson wins. Then they do the next match is not an NXT related match, but they have Yoshitatsu, who now has the same music, but he's like this creepy half great kabuki with a mask thing, even though he's got the same, happy-go-lucky music. And he faces JTG, who I guess is a heel now.
Yeah, he is.
But he has Tamina in his corner now. And JTG wins. He doesn't cheat, although I looked like he was pulling the tights, but then when they showed the replay, he didn't. But it was a decent match. It was all right. And then in the main event, Titus O'Neil beat Tyler Rex. And right after that, Darren Young, who I thought was like Baby Rock, came out, hair cut, and beat the crap out of Titus O'Neil, and then walked off. So that was the NXT Redemption, which you can catch on WWE.com. Next up, we had one Superstars match, which was Tyson Kidd and Trent Beretta, two Superstars mainstays, and Tyson Kidd won that match. Then they did some, mid promos, and they did a promo for the Stone Cold DVD, and let's see what else. They did a promo on the Shawn Brett rivalry DVD, and they did like the long 2-minute thing for like the big WWE pimp job, of the troops and all the other stuff, and Make-A-Wish and all that kind of stuff. So they did a lot of the usual time fillers. And then of course we opened with SmackDown. And they got all the graphics out, and actually, one of the hottest pops of the night, no surprise, was when Booker T came out. Booker got a crazy pop from the Bridgeport crowd, and he took a seat. And then, of course, Josh Matthews was already. By the way, do you know who does? Incidentally, who and this may make you want to watch it. You know who's the announce team for NXT? Josh Matthews and Regal.
Oh no, yeah, I think I did know that actually.
Yeah, that kind of makes you want to watch it now because it seems like Regal's been pretty legit. So it might not be bad, and he's a good guy to have a commentary. Talking about the young guys. So it was him, and then it was him, and Titus O'Neil was on with the two of them when Watson was fighting Bateman. So then there was a backstage skip, by the way, with Bateman and Maxine and Johnny Curtis, who I actually like. I like his mannerisms. He's got that kind of snarky. You know what he is? He's kind of a very young and raw Randy Orton 2003. That's that kind of smug, young, like frat boy asshole look, which kind of would fit. It wouldn't be bad for right now to stick on SmackDown or something. I see good things from him. So then it opens. We have the signature, and let's be honest, folks. The signature live brings chills.
Yep.
It's loud. It still gets you pumped. I don't care how old you are. You could be whatever. You could be 10. You could be 100. It still gets you pumped up. We have no opening graphic for SmackDown and no pyro, thank God. But because the pyro in a small place, I'm sure in Boston it's not as bad, but in a small place like Bridgeport, it could throttle your ears.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of pyro and a lot of flames and fire.
Yes, there was some pyro on SmackDown, but not the opening pyro. We didn't have an opening pump up because it opened right to backstage, and Daniel Bryan, the SmackDown Money in the Bank winner, was getting the shit kicked out of him by Mark Henry, the World Heavyweight Champion. And Bryan is dragged by Mark Henry out into the ring, gets kicked around. Bryan tries to fight back with some punches and kicks, but gets thrown to the ground and then gets 2 World's Greatest Slams before he's carted off. And he pretty much says, no one's going to beat me. I'm going to take care of the big show at Survivor Series. Someone's going to get carted out of the garden, and it's not going to be me. And then he leaves. Out comes Vicky Guerrero and the United States champion Dolph Ziggler, and Vicky announces that Dolph will face John Morrison for the United States Championship at Survivor Series. So yes, Dolph will be wrestling twice. I have a feeling that match is going to change, but we'll get to the picks later.
I don't think so. But...
No, all right. Well,
they worked double duty at the last show.
Yeah, no. I think the match will happen. I think there'll be a change to it, but I still think it'll happen.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a minute with the picks. So anyway, so Dolph ends up wrestling Sin Cara, who has you could tell because we saw them wheeling the trampoline to the ring, so we knew he was coming out. So Sin Cara comes out, does his bounce, gets a good pop from the crowd. A lot of young kids there, and young kids saw a lot of Sin Cara shirts. In terms of shirts, by the way, I don't know what your crowd looked like, but everybody was wearing that Cena.
Yep, orange.
Oh yeah, no, the new one, the hate one.
Mine was a lot of the orange, the red, not the orange, the red.
The red, yeah. No, I saw a lot of the new one, the "Don't Spread Hate" or "Stop Hate" or whatever it says on the front, and there were a lot of Sin Cara T-shirts. I don't even think he had a T-shirt, but maybe it was something on another site. But there were a lot of Sin Cara T-shirts. So he wrestled Ziggler. Ziggler won clean. There are some that say that Jack Swagger interfered. Obviously, these people didn't watch. Every review of this show that I watched on various sites that I've read fucked this whole thing up. I don't know what. In fact, one reviewer said that he was live at the SmackDown tapings in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So I don't know. Maybe he was taking your muscle relaxers. I don't know what the fuck this guy was talking about. But anyway, Dolph Ziggler wins clean, and then Sin Cara starts fighting back, and then Jack Swagger, who, yes, I agree with you, looks like he's about 6'11", even though he's probably not that tall, but he's tall. Comes in and beats the hell out of Sin Cara, and then of course saving the day, hair wisping in the wind, his Braveheart himself, Mason Ryan, and he comes in, and then we have an impromptu match between Mason Ryan and Jack Swagger, and Mason Ryan wins with his with that full Nelson slam finisher, which is pretty impressive. And so that happens, and he wins the match, and that's that. We go backstage. Justin Gabriel is talking to – who's he talking to? Alicia Fox. And then, of course, the broski comes out, Zack Ryder, continuing to get his petition to get a United States Championship match. Big Show comes in. Crowd, big pop. Big Show says, hey, I'll sign your petition. And they're looking at him funny, and they're like, what's the matter? Did I say something wrong? He goes, no, but you got to find out what happened to Daniel Bryan tonight. And he goes, let me guess. He goes, let me go find him. So Big Show leaves. We go back, and Ted DiBiase and Hornswoggle are playing the new WWE 12 game. And in comes Teddy Long, congratulates the DiBiase posse, which has gained some momentum on SmackDown. And then Oksana comes in, which I absolutely cannot stand her. She's one of the most unwatchable divas I think I've ever seen, and we've had many. She's just unwatchably bad. So they do some babbling segment about video games, and she leaves. We come back, and Christian comes out to a good pop, actually, even though he's a heel. Still comes out to a good pop. Of course, he's got on the neck brace and the boot and the crutch. Talks about how he's not going to be at Survivor Series, but he will support Team Barrett. And, you know, the WWE Universe sucks, and I can't believe you treat me like crap. And Teddy Long's a jerk for making me wrestle with a bad neck, and then I hurt my ankle. And then they showed a picture of his ankle. And it was swollen, and it was bruised and bloody. And, he says, screw you, I'm out of here, and then he leaves. We go backstage again, and AJ and Daniel Bryan, I don't know if they're, like, going out or something. Bryan is on the trainer table all crumpled and beat up, and AJ's sitting there, rubbing his beard or whatever. Big Show comes over, says, this is my fault. He goes, no, it's not. The guy's a son of a bitch, and AJ's standing there, and Big Show says, I'm going to find Mark. So he goes off. Commercial, we come back. Derek Bateman, the NXT guy, comes out again, this time with Maxine, and it's a jobber match. Out comes DiBiase. DiBiase beats him. So DiBiase definitely getting a nice push on SmackDown, kind of getting his character back up again.
You could tell they're repositioning him now. Yeah,
which is good. He looked great. Mm-hmm. Hit the whatever the finisher and the $1 million draw. I don't know what the exact name. I always forget what the name of the finisher is, but and then gets a nice pop and leaves. So good match there. Big Show. This is actually the funniest one of the night because you and I made fun of this guy last week. But Big Show's walking around, and Tyson Kidd and Jinder Mahal are just standing in the hallway. They're standing there and says, "Either you guys seen Mark?" And Tyson Kidd, even though he's a heel, says no. So nope, haven't seen him. And then Jinder Mahal spews off this Indian rhetoric. And then Big Show laughs at him and then punches him in the face and knocks him out. And then the best vision of all is Tyson Kidd gets all scared and walks over Jinder Mahal's body as he's lying there and Tyson Kidd walks
I don't know.
away.
I don't know where that puts him in the rankings then for jobbers. Is Tyson Kidd the worst because he was scared and ran away, or is Jinder the worst because he jobbed to a punch? I don't know.
Yeah, and Tyson Kidd walked over him. So that's when you get walked over by Tyson Kidd, you're in trouble.
Yeah, so maybe anyway. Jinder is the lowest ranked.
Yeah, he is. It was a funny skit, though. Next match, out comes Hunico. Alone. No Primo and no the other, not the
Epico.
Epico, thank you. Epico and Primo. They did not come out. Hunico came out alone. Epico. He came out alone. And then he wrestled no, it wasn't. Not even close. Out came Kofi Kingston, one half of the tag team champions. They had a match. Kofi won. And that was that. So that was another good match. They did one of those standalone promo. They did a standalone promo for Ezekiel Jackson. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're repackaging him or I don't know what the deal is, but I know he hasn't been on camera much lately, so maybe they're repackaging him. But he had like a speaking thing about it was very biblical and very like scriptural. I'm not sure how they're going with it, but it was they did a little vignette for him. Then they had there was a Big Show promo. Big Show came out, cut his promo, saying, I'm going to take, Mark, we've gone too far at Survivor Series. Easily I'm going to knock you out, and I'm going to take what you hold dear, the World Heavyweight Championship. So he cut a nice promo, started punching into the camera, and the crowd went crazy. And we were talking about, guys that are big. Big Show is big, but I tell you something, he must be hitting the gym big time because he seems to have lost a considerable amount of weight. He does not look as beefy, even when he came back in 2008. He looks thinner than he does now than he does then. And obviously he looks a lot better than he does on our late 2006 DVDs, pay-per-views, when he looks like he's about to die of a heart attack. But he looks great. I think he might be in his best working shape in like 5 or 6 years. I think he really does. So he cut the promo and left. We had a tag team Divas match, Natalya and Beth Phoenix against AJ and Caitlyn. And this was sick. Natalya puts AJ in the sharpshooter and folds her up.
Yeah, AJ is very flexible. So
yes, exactly. And so Natalya folded her up and almost rolled her up into a donut and got the win. So, and then finally out came, and then Chimmel came in the ring and said tonight, and this obviously was during commercial, our dark match was the Big Show versus Mark Henry, and Booker T was the guest ref. And that was rumored anyway, that Booker was going to referee some match in the local ads here in Connecticut. So then the main event, out came Orton first, and obviously got a huge pop. And did you notice last night that they play Orton's music louder than everybody else's?
Everything sounded loud to me, so I'm not sure.
All right, I felt, and I said it to Matt. I said, "Do you think? I feel like Orton's theme gets jacked up louder than everybody else's. Just seemed like it." And then Sheamus, who got a great pop. I've just been so impressed with him the last few months. He's definitely kind of settled into this nice role. Obviously, not in any title picture, but doesn't faze him. He likes just beating the crap out of guys and doing a great job.
He's
there.
Kind of like
a good pop.
the modern day Razor Ramon, kind of in the upper mid card face that everyone's into. Has a good look, good offense, tough guy. Can hang in either the upper mid card or the main event scene. This is kind of the feeling I get with him.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think he definitely is getting good. The crowd is definitely on it. The Great White, the whole thing, and it's cool. And then out came Barrett, who, if he's going to be a player, he's got to get better music. I don't like his theme at all. I miss the overcoat with the flower. He doesn't come out with that anymore. And I'll tell you something. I don't know about you, but I've noticed that Wade Barrett's starting to get the Mason Ryan Braveheart hair.
Yes.
It's starting to get very long, and it's getting started very long and wispy in the back. But and then finally Cody. And Cody's new theme is kind of like the dashing theme, only sped up.
Yeah.
Would you gather that?
Yeah. It is. Because there's a lot of the same words and stuff, so. Yep. But he definitely is that, yes.
Yes. The mask is gone. He did come back with the hoodie. He did have the hoodie on last night. Didn't go to all two either. He took it off like Sin Cara takes his thing off at the top of the ramp and then came down. But he does still have the hoodie. But yes, the mask is gone. And the theme song is now like his old dashing theme except faster. And I was expecting a great match, but it was a, average TV match, nothing fancy. Christian would come out, and he would end up hitting Sheamus with the crutch, forcing the DQ. And then afterwards, Sheamus would hit the Brogue Kick on Barrett, and then Orton would RKO Rhodes.
I don't know, man. I don't know. She's just acting real funky.
Is this affecting you already? God, what time did you take them? So that was the end of that. That was the actual end. And then the two got on the ramp, the ring corners, and everybody cheered, and the place went crazy. So that was the official end of the show. Then they leave the ring, and Big Show came out, and then Mark Henry came out, and Booker T was actually dressing at the announce table, and put on his referee outfit, and then came in the ring, and then the match was like 4 minutes. Big Show won by DQ because Mark Henry came in with a chair. So, and then after that, Big Show did it. Of course, Booker had to do a spin-a-rooney, and then Big Show did a Big Show-a-rooney. And that was that. And then we left. So there was
shit. Chocolate or something.
Would you put the candies down, please? I'm trying to do the review here. So there was the end of the show. I didn't get any beverages because I was too crammed in my seat, and I couldn't feel like getting up and trying to crawl over people, so I didn't bother. But only one merchandise stand, which was kind of surprising. I figured they'd do at least two. And they sold out of. And the one thing I was gonna get a Punk T-shirt, but they sold out of them. So they had a lot of belts, a lot of cheesy. They had like the Cena foam fingers were $5. That's why you see so many of them, because they're so goddamn cheap.
Yeah, that's smart though.
The Cena foam. Yeah, of course, but I mean that's why you see so many of them. How come we can't get an old school WrestleMania T-shirt? No, those have to be $28 fucking bucks. So there was now again. Hey, I'm trying to compliment you. Although lower the price of the T-shirts, Vince. I recommend. Now again, Justin and I, were comped by unknown sources, but even if you can buy an inexpensive ticket to SmackDown or Raw, go. Regardless if you think you may think watching it on TV the show is not great. The energy of a live show is just something that you'll never stop loving, regardless of how old you are or what you're doing in your life or whether you think the product sucks or not. When you're at a live show, it just feels good, and it just makes the show itself better, even though it probably isn't. There's very few instances where there's only two, and you and I have talked about this in the past here on the Place to Be podcast. There's only been two live shows where I've left going, God, that sucked. For you, obviously, it was the '97 King of the Ring. And for me,
I can't say I left
Raw.
saying that sucked, though. I left disappointed. I'll put it that way.
Okay. The one live show I left saying, God, that was horrible, was the Raw leading up to SummerSlam 2005 up at Mohegan, which was the week of when Shawn Michaels was on the fake Larry King. Because neither of them were there, Shawn or Hogan. And I was not crazy about the Jericho Cena feud at the time, whatever. But that show was the only time I ever left going, God, that was horrible. The only time I ever left disappointed, like you said, when I went to the Raw the night after Survivor Series 2002, when we were teased an RVD Shawn Michaels match, and then Bischoff, that cocksucker, yanked the rug out from under us.
I'd say the only time I actually left a live show saying it sucked was a Nitro in May of '98, but it was June of '98, but it was during the NBA Finals. So it was like the 7 to 8 hour long one, and they had a couple crappy dark matches, and we actually got the fuck out of there and tried to get home in time for Watch Raw. So that's how much it sucked that we wanted to go home.
Now that's not the show where you got Now that's not the show where you ended up getting the tickets.
No, that was a house show.
Right. Okay. So there's your Raw and SmackDown recap. So we hope we kind of give you. I know, yeah, longer than normal, but we just wanted to give you the live taste. But the moral of our story is, if a live show is in your town, and you can get inexpensive tickets, don't kill yourself. Don't spend $80 on Raw or something stupid like that, unless you want to sit on the floor. But if you can get a Raw ticket or SmackDown for like $25, go. It just feels good to go to a live show once in a while. Don't worry about the quality, unless it really is circles the bowl. But it's just a good feeling. The pyro, the fans, the energy level, the wrestlers. It's a lot of fun. You get to see some interesting things too. So
and it was nice too. I feel like I had been to so many, and after not having gone for a while, it was kind of nice to go back. Like I almost kept forgetting I was going that night, and I was like, I'll be interested to see what it's like. And then you get there, you get kind of wrapped up into it and everything. So. And honestly, it didn't. I know it was a 3-hour show, but it really didn't feel like one there live. So, and just to give an update, 9 minutes left in the game. Long Beach State's up 10. So,
okay. Our show felt very short too, and ours started at 7 and ended. The big show of Rooney was about 9:58. So, it definitely felt shorter, than it was, but it was a fun show. So.
All right, let's quickly get into Survivor Series, and we'll move a little bit quickly through this because we've already been going for quite a while. Yep. So, all right, we have 6 matches announced. One has changed, which we'll get to in a minute. But let's start with the Divas Championship, Beth and Eve. Do you see Eve taking the title here at all, or do you think Beth keeps it?
No, Beth keeps it. Okay. Keep her going.
I agree.
They're going to work towards Kelly getting it back, most likely. So.
All right, U.S. title match has now changed, and it's now Dolph Ziggler defending against John Morrison, which you said Vicky announced on SmackDown. And, of course, Zack Ryder has taken to Twitter and has been bitching and complaining a little bit, calling it the Manhattan screw job and wondering why this is happening. And I'm really curious if Monday night's antics had anything to do with it, if they got mad that he came out during that dark match. But I can't imagine that's why, but it's kind of curious timing. So a little disappointing. I don't really know how to pick with this. Last time I thought Dolph was going to lose his title in this kind of scenario. He ended up holding it. Morrison, I haven't seen any updates. I don't know if he's re-signed or not, and it's odd that they're giving him a pay-per-view match. So I don't know if they're just using it to give Dolph someone to go over. or are they serious about pushing Morrison again? Either way, I'm going to play it safe and take Dolph here.
Well, my opinion is I think Teddy is going to come out at the beginning, say the petition will suffice, add Zack Ryder to the match as a triple threat, and Zack Ryder pins Morrison to win the title.
It's possible.
And that way,
I think though,
I
feel like they'd
Dolph
advertise
is protected. Be a good surprise.
No,
because of the guard.
Well, I don't know. I disagree a little bit, only because I feel like to a large segment of the audience, he actually is a drawing point. So I think you could get some extra buys if they knew he has a shot at winning the title. If you end up doing it as a surprise, I think it takes a little bit away from it.
Okay, well, we'll see.
I mean, if he wasn't involved in the title picture at all, and Teddy brought him out, but the fact that he's been involved and he's taken out of the match and then you stick a bad, to me, it just defeats the purpose.
Okay. I don't understand why he would be punished for looking good in the dark match. Like, why are they being such dicks? You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm just guessing. I'm not trying to pin that on them. I don't know. I'm just postulating. Yeah. You know, I don't know. It could have nothing to do with it. They could just change their mind. It's just kind of weird that it seems like something they get mad over, that this guy went out there when he wasn't supposed to, and you know, he got involved in this match. But it wasn't really his fault. I mean, Punk went and dragged him out. So
right. So, but yeah, all right. Well, let's just say if it stays Morrison and Dolph, then I think Dolph will win. If my theory does come true, and Zack Ryder is added as a triple threat, or he's in the match in any capacity, he wins.
Okay,
that's my pick.
All right, next up we have the Vipers versus the Wastelanders, as we've entitled it on our board, and that's Randy Orton, Sheamus, Sin Cara, Mason Ryan, Kofi Kingston versus Wade Barrett, Cody, Dolph, Swagger, and Hunico. I like that they're involving Hunico and Sin Cara in this match. A little disappointed, no Daniel Bryan, unfortunately. I'm wondering if he's going to be involved with Show and Henry at all, though. I like the faces in these matches usually, so I'll take them, and I'm guessing Sheamus and Orton are the sole survivors.
All right. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say the heels win. Just for the reason that I think Barrett needs a little extra sizzle, and I think all these other feuds could use a little extra oomph. I like, and it's not a knock on Orton or anybody like that. I think Kofi or Mason Ryan will eat the pin. Will eat the last pin. I think you'll see a couple of DQs. The match will not be clean by any stretch. I think you'll see some DQs. And
I guess
the only guy, you know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say here's my pick. Looking at the teams, this is what I think is gonna happen. Your two survivors will be Orton and Cody Rhodes, and I think Cody Rhodes gets the pin. That's what I think. I think of all the weeks of jobbing, I think Cody gets one back.
He could.
That's
he could also pin him during. I see the faces winning here because I think a lot of heels are going to win on the show. Honestly, outside of the main event, I think that's going to be the only faces that win. So, I just think they'll have. It just seems like those kind of matches, they usually go with the feel good ending, and I can see maybe just Sheamus, maybe Rhodes pins Orton, and that's possible during the match. So, all right, so that's that. The next match is Mark Henry defending his title against Big Show. Obviously, this is just the finale of their feud, and Henry keeps it. I don't see Big Show winning the title.
No, I don't either. And a lot of people seem to be saying that Bryan's going to cash in Money in the Bank, and I don't think that's going to happen.
I think they're still planning on saving that for Mania. But at least they're getting him involved in things, which is good.
Yes, I agree. And I have no problem him getting his ass kicked by Mark Henry. He's 4 times in...
Yeah, no, that's fine.
He's 4, but that's good. I mean, he's 4 times his size, and that just makes the build even more. Mm-hmm. If it is go all the way to WrestleMania, that's how the build's supposed to be. So... Yep. But I think Henry wins and he moves on to face somebody else at TLC. Yeah, I think that feud ends Sunday.
All right. WWE Championship, Alberto Del Rio defending against CM Punk. I'm going to take Punk here by DQ. I don't think he wins the title, but I think he'll win the match.
Nope, I agree with you 100%. I agree with the same thing. It's going to end in some kind of dumpy schmaz. It's already been rumored, a very strong rumor, that this rematch is already locked in for TLC.
Yep, we'll get to that in the news. Yeah. But yeah, it definitely seems like it's a done deal. So I agree there. I think Punk gets hosed and he gets his rematch. So, and I'm still undecided if I think he may win it at TLC or if they're going to wait and have him win it in Chicago on Raw. So we shall see there. And then, of course, the main event, I don't think we have any doubt that Cena and Rock will be winning that. And, of course, they'll build the tension towards their WrestleMania showdown.
Now, the only way that I could see... I got to play devil's advocate occasionally. The only way I could see Miz and Truth winning this match is if Rock and Cena try to battle for who gets the pin or battle for who gets the finisher, and Cena eats it. Rock won't eat it.
I thought
Cena
about
lead.
that too, but the only thing is, this has to be last. And I just can't see them ending the show with Miz and Truth winning that match. Not in MSG.
True. No.
And you can't have it in the middle.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's probably very low percentage. I'm just saying if they want to pull something out of their ass, they may do that. But you're probably right. I think just Rock and Cena win. And then what would make the feud great, this is my ending. This would make the ending better because Cena's looked like the chump the whole time. What I think makes this the best is if Rock gets the pin, he rock bottoms one of the two, gets the pin, celebrates, and then right out of the blue, Cena FUs him and walks away.
Yeah, I agree.
Cena needs to look good here. Cena needs to get the upper hand for once because this feud is going to start to get irritating if Rock consistently looks like the cooler guy and Cena looks like the dope.
Yeah.
So I think Cena needs to kind of set the tempo and like, all right, we won, blow it out your ass, F you, see you later. That would make it better, and maybe that would start to put a line in the sand, no pun intended, as to who will root for who from that point on, or how the attitudes will be between these two guys from this point on. But yeah, in terms of winning the match, they'll win. I'm just throwing it out there to just create conversation, but clearly I think the two of them are.
Especially with a guy like Truth out there that can easily eat the pin, not really matter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So.
All right, so there's this Survivor Series preview, quick and dirty. So let's continue to move along here. And we do have our, actually, one other update is Jim Ross has announced that he will not be at Survivor Series announcing, which is disappointing, but not a shock. So
yes.
It makes me glad sometimes I'm at a bar where I won't really be able to hear it. So.
Oh, incidentally, I forgot. One more thing to note, and I said this to you. I couldn't get the picture because I tried to find the guy. I told the guy to meet me at the bottom of the entrance, and he vanished. But there was a guy in front of us, and Matt. I actually caught the T-shirt. Matt did, but there was a guy sitting in front of us actually wearing a Picasso's T-shirt.
It's pretty sweet.
Which I thought was pretty funny. I tried to take a picture and send it to you, but it was right in the middle of the pyro came up like surprisingly, and the picture was dark. And then I said, "All right, meet me at the bottom of the ramp after this," and then he vanished. So, but I do have a witness. Matt did see it. The guy did have a Picasso's, and he says he goes there all the time, and he says that he talked to the owners and they were going to get rid of the WWE pay-per-views. That's why they don't do boxing anymore. But he says they do make too much money on the WWE.
Was this guy's name Jim?
No, it was not Jim. No, if next time I'm there with you, if he's there, I think it'll be pretty funny.
Okay.
But he says he goes there a lot. But
all right,
short guy, bald.
Short guy, bald. All right, I'll have to keep that in mind. Update here: Long Beach State is up 12 with 5.5 minutes left. Okay, let's read this email.
And no, it's not Ralphus.
No, okay. All right, let's read this email from our listener, Benjamin Kroll. Hit us up on the placetobepodcast@gmail.com. Hey, have we figured out who's going to be Sin Cara's teammate to help fight the bad Sin Cara, Primo, and Epico? My theory, WWE puts it off until Rey Mysterio can come back. I think they want Rey to be able to bridge the gap to the newer Hispanic wrestlers. Now, I agree with that. I do think Rey is going to be the guy to eventually bridge to this new group. But there was another guy, I believe is a Verno, that they're talking to out of Mexico to come in and be Sin Cara's guy to help him in this feud. So that is what I have seen. That's what I have heard. But I also think Rey will play a part in this. And I could see them doing a big 6-man at Mania. But I don't know. Well, the latest was that Rey probably wouldn't be ready for Mania, right? Wasn't that the prognosis?
Yeah. Yep. No, he wasn't going to be ready for Mania. He wasn't going to be back till maybe May.
Okay.
So
because that would have been a cool match to have, a Verno, Rey, and Sin Cara against Epico, Primo, and Hunico. And it's good to see Primo back involved. I like him. And I'm glad he looks like he's slimmed down and he's in pretty good shape now. And I don't know. I'm always a mark for stables, and I'm a mark for Hispanic stables dating back to Los Boricuas. So pretty happy.
Oh God, I liked the what's their names, the Juan Deere guys, the Mexicals.
Oh, Mexicals, yes.
Yeah, So yeah, no, I agree. Rey, I think Rey, it's about time for Rey to start winding down, and maybe he can start bringing an influx of. It's almost like '97 when they were bringing an influx of the Mexican talent in. Except they weren't bad midgets, at least this time.
Well, the only thing, though, with Rey is that he may not be completely winding down, because if he's going through all this rehab to try and make a comeback, do you think he's really going to come back for like a month and then leave? You know what I mean? Like, he might end up going another year or so.
Yeah.
He might not be completely winding down,
right.
Only because, if he's going to go through all this and make a comeback, why the fuck is he going to waste it on, just a few matches? So, it'll be interesting, though.
No, I think so. He may be longer than a year. I was saying long term, not short term.
Right.
I'm saying long term. I think he'll influx, and then maybe by 2013, maybe he'll be ready to. Well, I mean, because his knees are in pretty bad shape, and this is 6th knee surgery. So we'll see. Good email. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you. Excellent. And if you don't use Facebook often, or you can't get, maybe if you're at work and you're at lunchtime and, your company blocks Facebook, which mine does, use our email address, placetobepodcast@gmail.com, and email us your questions that way, just like Benjamin did. It's still open. We check it all the time. So another outlet to go if you want to ask us anything, trivia, try and stump us, anything you want. Go to the email if you are unable to use either the Twitter or our Facebook. Be more than happy to read your email. So,
speaking of the Twitter, as you can tell, Raw, as seen on Raw, WWE is pushing the Twitter promotion into overdrive. They were boasting about their social media rankings, and Raw's the number one program to broadcast on broadcasting cable TV Mondays night. Trend TV with boots to asses and all that shit. So, and of course, everyone now has a little Twitter graphic with their handle. And obviously, they're continuing this, and it's not going anywhere. And I think some people thought that they were pushing The Rock into doing that, but Rock seems pretty into that stuff as well. He's all about his Twitter and Facebook. He's always talking about it. So they both seem a little too into it. So it'll be interesting. But you know what? It gets them. That's how things are. I know it can be annoying and overbearing, but when they're into something, they're into it. And, if they feel like it's going to help them infiltrate a whole nother level. And I'd rather have it be like this than have them be totally ignoring the future like they used to, where they, were late to the party. They're heavily into this. Twitter, to me, is the future of a lot of things. So if they're going to be into it, they're into it. I'm fine with it. They might as well do it the right way.
I agree. And, we'll continue on, and maybe after, maybe this is the time of the year things are quiet. Always the fall into Thanksgiving and Christmas. Viewership dies a little bit. Maybe after the New Year we get closer to the Rumble, and then obviously the WrestleMania build. Maybe it'll pick up and go a little more gonzo.
I think it helps make it look a little more up to date too. Like the fact that it's live and they can do that kind of stuff. Not a lot of shows can do that kind of stuff. So it's cool that they can say, "Oh, we're trending right now." They can talk about it.
Right, I agree. No, absolutely.
I'm just saying. I think
it'll ramp. Yeah, I think it'll ramp up after the New Year when we get towards the Rumble and then the real build to Miami. So, but yeah, no, I think they should keep pushing it. Why not? It gets, it's not the Twitter that's a problem. It's sometimes the show is the problem. It's a shame they can't do it on SmackDown because the show's taped. But
yeah, stuff like that just doesn't. I don't know. Some people get bothered by it. It doesn't bother me seeing the Twitter handle at the bottom of everyone's screen, and I don't know, that shit's just never bothered me. So
Nah, it doesn't faze me either.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that you have to do it.
Right.
But you could just, hey, that's cool. You can trend it, and then you move on. It's kind of harp on it. So, all right. Well, let's take a quick break because we got a lot to do, and we've already used up we've already gone through a lot, and we got a lot more to do. So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do our news and notes, asshole of the week, NFL picks. Hopefully, my PIC will survive. Still got a lot of energy, so let's hope we don't lose it. But let's take a break and listen to our good friends from WrestleChat.net because
Mírame los ojos cuando digas mi nombre. No me confrontes si no eres un hombre. Tanto yo represento mi...
How many pro wrestling news websites do you visit to get your daily news? 3, 4, maybe 5? Do yourself a favor and make that number 1. WrestleChat.net, the only professional wrestling news site that brings you all wrestling news all day long and is home of the critically acclaimed Still Real to Us podcast starring former CZW, ROH, and ECW announcer Eric Gargiulo and the champ
Jeff right pecked by a midget basketball.
WrestleChat.net. WrestleChat, it's where it's at.
I hope that as we continue on, of course, with our vintage vaults, and we get to 97, that you're giggling about Los Boricuas now when we have to do all those god-hideous gang wars matches. So, hey, not my fault you had to put Jose...
I think we should bring them back and have a big feud.
Oh, lovely. What, in the DOAs and
the gang wars, bring them back. Oh, you just wait until... we'll get into a little bit later what our plan is for this week's show, but I got a lot of discussion on the DOA and the Boricuas and the Truth Commission. Don't you worry.
Oh, good Lord. All right. WrestleChat.net, your home for everything pro wrestling. You can catch great reviews of live shows, news and notes for WWE, TNA, UFC. Cain Velasquez over the weekend got throttled.
Mollywomped.
Punch. Yeah, he got mollywomped all right by Junior Dos Santos. And I thought Velasquez was a beat. I mean, this is a guy that knocked that, and he didn't knock out. He beat the snot out of Brock.
Yep.
and this guy got whopped in like 30 seconds. Also, they do a little boxing because obviously Manny Pacquiao retained his title on Saturday night as well. And, of course, the champ and the announcer talking about midgets playing basketball on their podcast. And they have a great message board. And, of course, you can look at the mascot, the PTB Nation.
Speaking of midgets.
Yes, and click on the midget in the hat, basketball, and you can, of course, go to the Podbean page and listen to us. So, WrestleChat.net, your home for everything pro wrestling. All right, let's get down to business. Story number 1.
3-hour Raw drew a 3.25 rating with an average of 4.74 million viewers. The final 2 hours, which is the usual time slot, did a very strong 3.37, which is obviously expected with Foley and The Rock in those hours. Hour 1 was 4.31 million, 5 million in the second hour, 4.91 mil in the third hour. 9th time in the past 12 weeks that Raw's dropped in the final hour. So, interesting trends there.
Yeah, well, that's weird because everyone knew Rock was coming out in the third hour.
Although you kind of wonder if they saw Rock early with Mick, did that other 0.9 million or whatever assume that was the only time they were going to see him?
Well,
I mean, I couldn't hear the commentary, so I don't know how much they were plugging that he'd still be coming out. I don't know, but
no, they did. They put promos up at least 3 times between then and when he came out at about 11:15 or whatever it was. So no, it was clear that was not his only appearance. So that makes this even more strange. And just as a side note to talk about ratings, I was looking today at the I forgot what the name of the site is, World Almanac something, and it had an archive of ratings.
Yep.
And we're talking about 4.91 for the last hour of Raw.
Yeah. No.
The highest
4.91 million viewers.
Million viewers for rating. I don't know what this for millions. Let's just all right. 3.37 is 4.95 million viewers. Let's just leave it. Keep that in your mind for a minute. The highest, I was looking at the Raws in 1999, looking at the overflows.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Raw in 99 was fucking, 6.5, 6.6s? It was ridiculous.
Oh, they were in the 7s sometimes.
Yeah, and they were in the 7s. Well, listen to this. And the overflows were always a big deal, too. Because overflows between Raw and Nitro, that was always the other big battle. The night after King of the Ring 99, if you remember, Stone Cold won his, 4th championship against The Undertaker. The overflow that night was an 8.3.
Yeah, that's insane. Well,
what is that for million viewers? That's if a 3.25 is 4.474 million, then an 8.1 has got it's got to be over 10 million viewers. That's crazy.
The biggest rating was what? Wasn't it like a 6-man or something with those guys? It was like
was it Shane, Vincent, Taker
against Rock,
Steve, and Nick? Something like that.
Yeah, it was something.
And it was like a 9 something. It was ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, it was something you'll never see in any TV show ever.
And of course,
again.
This Is Your Life was like one of the highest rated segments of all time.
Yes, the first one, the one in 1999.
Yep.
Yes. So obviously, I'm just saying that for reference sake. You'll never see those numbers again. But
well, who knows? You never would have thought you'd see them in 1995. So.
Well, that is true. So we'll see.
Okay. Speaking of TV, we have a little update. I think you'll enjoy this. I don't know if you saw these yet. More updates on shows that are under consideration for the WWE Network. The latest ideas include a show with Steve Austin traveling the country sampling different beers, Mick Foley doing a travel guide of different amusement parks, a workout series where a WWE wrestler takes a bunch of skinny guys and shows them how to eat right and bulk up. I think that could be pretty good.
I like that too. I
think this one's pretty good too. A behind-the-scenes look at life as a member of the WWE road crew, traveling town to town and rigging up the set for each live event.
Wow, that's interesting.
WWE recently filed paperwork to trademark WWE Livewire, which of course is the name of the company's interactive phone-in show, which ran on cable in 1996. They also applied the trademark to WWE House of Fame and WWE WrestleMania Rewind, which are the other shows that the network has gotten the green light on.
Yep.
And of course, that's the Big Brother style, and then the previous WrestleMania. So, the Mick and Austin ones could be good in limited run. I don't know how long you can really do those for, how often. But I guess if you just did like a 10 episode season here and there. I like the workout one though, and the road crew one. I think could be pretty good as well.
Yes. And by the way, do some insider information here. I have good news, and I have bad news. The good news is it is pretty much confirmed they are coming to our building.
Nice.
The bad news is I will not be the coordinator. I was turned down because it's going to someone else who right now does not have a client. I'm not going to get into the lingo, but I'll explain to you later. But It's going to someone else, which I'm bummed, but I'm not bummed. I'm bummed because I wanted to do it, but I'm not bummed because I'll still get a taste of it and I'll still get to watch stuff, and I won't have to deal with it, and I won't have to deal with anybody's bullshit.
Yeah, that's good.
I still get to do my CBS stuff, and then the guy who's doing it can deal with the headaches of the people.
Especially a new network growing.
Yeah, and my client's pretty stable. What if they flake out and this turns into the XFL?
Right.
Which I don't think it will, but you never know. But I'll still get a taste, and I'll give everyone. You'll get all the inside stuff from me. So the pipeline will be free and clear, but I won't always have my hands in it. But you'll always get updates from me on what's going on. So
very good.
You'll get
look forward to it.
Yes. So I don't know when they're starting. They've already.
It has to be right before WrestleMania or the night, something around then. That's my prediction. I wouldn't be surprised if they do like a limited thing where they just keep airing those WrestleMania series, building up to WrestleMania or something like that to get a taste, and then coming off WrestleMania they fire up full time. Yeah,
I know that they're hiring. They've already got positions in place for traffic, meaning the industry term for like logs and spots and that kind of stuff. The stuff to get the program logs on the air and all that kind of behind the scenes nonsense. And so I know they're filling positions now. I have not heard when they're actually going to get into our building or where their master control facility will, or where the room will be in our facility. I don't know any of that inside junk yet, but I would hope it'd be soon. Bless you. I hope it'd be soon. I mean, we're looking at 5 months away.
Yep.
4.5 months away. So hopefully they'll start. I'll keep everyone updated here on the
just
PTB.
In time to be able to put my daughter in front of the WWE Network to watch all wrestling program nonstop.
Yes, but at least at least you can let her watch the old school stuff that's not offensive. Be careful obviously with the Attitude Era stuff, but at least you can.
I can give you a hint right now that the wife will not allow anything until an older age.
Yeah, you're probably right. She did say I could get an awesome onesie because that would be cool. So it wouldn't look weird like a Punk one or something. But
I'll have to show you the Jets one that came in the other day. I ordered.
Oh, excellent. Yes.
So okay. Yeah. Other news bit quick was, of course, Brodus Clay will be on next week's Raw. We'll see. And locally, CM Punk versus Alberto Del Rio and Triple H versus Kevin Nash have all but been confirmed for TLC next month. No word on stipulations. But obviously, I think it was a smart move in the end to save Triple H Nash. I think Survivor Series can be carried on the back of Rock and Cena alone, and the fact that it's an MSG and the titles and everything. So I think it's good because they'll need a big match to carry TLC. And I think, like we said, we'll see where they go with Punk and Del Rio. But other news, WWE has just announced that actor Jonah Hill will be guest host Raw next Monday night. Of course, well known for Superbad and Moneyball, and he has another movie coming out in December, The Sitter. So that'll be interesting. It's kind of funny to think kind of a big name star like him is hosting a Hershey, Pennsylvania Raw, but that's how it goes, I guess.
That is very funny. Yeah. I wanted to see the picture. I wanted to make sure which Superbad. It's the chunky kid. Okay, I just want to make sure. I have Superbad. I just forgot the kid's name.
Yeah, well, he's lost a lot of weight. His last, he was still kind of big in Moneyball, but he's actually lost quite a bit of weight.
Oh, okay, good. Well, it's good to see. It doesn't hurt to have, the occasional actor, particularly if it's someone who likes the product. It's not some
and someone who's
asshole.
Fairly well known. I mean, he's a pretty big name. I don't know if you can get the last two stories to open. Mine are dragging here.
I'm opening. I'm going to open. I just clicked on the next one now, and
actually, I
just
got it here. So,
I got it here.
According to Gerwick and the Wrestling Globe newsletter, following the drug suspension of Evan Bourne, there's been a lot of recent debate among talent about a double standard in the wellness program. Bourne was suspended on 11/1 for testing positive for synthetic marijuana, which apparently a small group of people were doing during a party. Bourne is the only one of the group suspended, while another person who's part of the main event of Survivor Series was given the $2,500 pot fine. I'm guessing, guess who that was. This has led to questions about whether the drug testing program is flawed or whether the company treats talent differently depending on their position of the card. For what it's worth, Bourne wrote on Twitter that he did a candid and honest interview with WWE Magazine. So we'll see if this plays into a storyline at all. But we won't go naming names because it'll just all be conjecture. But based on Survivor Series main event, there's one guy that stands out, I think.
Yes. And the last news note, which I just opened up, Hulk Hogan, who obviously wants to get, I'm sure I wonder if this means he wants to get out.
Well, he signed
was impressed by the Rock
3-year deal or whatever, so I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah, and then they took all of his ideas and flushed them down the toilet. He said Robert Roode wasn't ready to be a world champion, and then they gave him the belt a week and a half later. But Hulk Hogan was impressed by The Rock's appearance on WWE's Raw. On Monday night, he tweeted Tuesday morning, The Rock looked jacked, which, Jesus, he does. In perfect shape, dieted down, and in the zone. He looks better than any wrestler actor I've ever seen. Total respect. HH. Speaking of...
He wants a movie role.
Yeah, and speaking of, I said this to you... on Monday night. Even in his biggest in 1999, Rock did not look this big. I mean, he is ridiculously jacked right now. I can't believe it.
I'll tell you who's the real jacked is me, the El Gigante.
What are you doing here?
I stumbled in. I'm hopped up on the painkillers. I'm sorry.
Oh, good Lord. El Gigante, everyone, the Argentinian freedom fighter who usually steps in on our Friday night vintage vaults.
I'll step in wherever the fuck I want to. Shut your mouth. I don't like you. I don't like the Dr. G's. I don't like the Rotellas. My personal catchphrase is DTA. Don't ever trust the nobodies.
What did you turn into Santino Gigante?
Don't trust nobodies. I don't trust you. I don't like your goatee. I don't like you with the microphone sucking the Rotellas. I don't like the Andy Flanagans and the Kirby Enthusiasms. And I've been in some serious pain here tonight.
Singing the Beebs.
But, yes, singing the Beebs. Oh, God. And Rob Houston, what the fuck are you doing? You're leaving the cup. Poor Justin buys you the soda, and you leave the cup. You basically piss in his face.
So I guess, Rob, there won't be any Rob Houston Memorial El Gigante fan club then.
The only Rob Houston Memorial will be standing next to his grave. Okay, goodbye.
All right, goodbye, El Gigante. We'll let him out. We usually only let him out on our Friday night vintage vaults.
I don't know. He stormed in here all hopped up on something.
Jesus. What does it matter with him? When did he open up a pizza place? He started talking like Mario in the end there. Interesting.
No, he's loopy. I don't know. What do you want?
Jesus, God. I'm looking at a picture. Who's this standing next to you? Interesting. Nice picture there. Place to Be Podcast. Just going to our Facebook page because it is now time for PTB Nation's interactive segment.
What kind of disgusting, despicable?
He's an asshole.
Who the fuck is this asshole? You're all a bunch of fucking assholes.
Do you know who I am?
At grade A, genuine, authentic asshole.
Hey there, PTB Nation. It is now time for the greatest segment in podcast history. You know what I'm talking about. It is time now for the PTB's Asshole of the Week.
You're an asshole tonight.
Let's fire it up.
Okay. Let's take a look and find looking for the Asshole of the Week.
I'll start it up there while you're looking.
Trail. Go ahead. Find the. Well, obviously the defending Asshole of the Week champions, undisputably, was Penn State University for all of that stuff.
Yeah. Now we made it clear in this week's nomination thread that we're going to retire them because obviously they can't be topped, but it's going to take the fun out of this. They're not fun to talk about. We want this to be an entertaining segment, so we gave them their due last week. They're honestly going to be the honorary assholes of ever. So. For now, we're just going to go ahead and move along into other topics. And that starts with our man, the PTB Picasso, Jason Greenhouse. And if you didn't see his video tribute to Scott Criscullo, be sure to check that out. It's pretty good.
Made me a Hall of Famer there, Greenhouse. Very impressed. Thank you.
Yes,
very
good
impressive
stuff. So he says he's going to go with his boy, Rex Ryan, cursing out fans at halftime. That won't win you games, he says, divisions or Super Bowls.
Yes, we'll get more into that later. The master of the apostrophe, J. Arsenio D'Amato, says that big, fat, sloppy pig, Rex Ryan, win with class and lose with class, like General Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Matt Souza, I got to again go with the NBA and Players Association. I think it's pretty much set in stone that the whole season will be canceled.
Yes. We'll get more into that in a little bit. Corey Ferreira, who wants to see our Lakers redeem themselves for the debacle of the spring. The NBA owners, David Stern, the Players Association, anyone involved with this goddamn lockout. After the happenings on Monday, the season is as good as gone for this year, and it fucking sucks.
Kevin Bowers. It's a toss-up for me this week between the NBA PA and Dana White. the NBA PA for being too damn greedy and probably putting the rest of the season in jeopardy, Dana White for going off on the fans after the epic fail that was the first UFC on Fox. The MMA fans weren't mad because the fight only went 104. We're pissed because he devoted an hour with 45 minutes of talking to only one fight and could have had at least one other fight. Instead, he takes a cheap shot at the fans, saying if he wanted to see all the fights so bad, he should have bought tickets.
Yeah, he's obviously not very media savvy, that's for sure. Good
well,
guy.
You know, I mean, it has been said that he really has built his model after Vince McMahon. And it has a lot of respect for Vince and all the work he's done. So it doesn't surprise me that it kind of takes the same tact with the media as Vince does.
That's true. Jordan Duncan. NBA is the obvious choice here, but instead I'll go with NBC executives who may have canceled Community but kept Whitney on the air.
Yes, a lot of shakeups actually. Whitney's moving to Wednesday, I think. Up All Night's going to Thursday, or Whitney, I forget. I don't know. Something's moving around there, and Community has been taken off the air, pissing off a lot of people. Mike Wilkinson. I actually think that Dana had a right to go off like he did. This is the first show on Fox, and when you hire national TV, you need to pump it up for the fans. I have no issue with this, as there's only one real other solid fight in the card. You could watch it for free on FoxSports.com if you don't want to watch the pre-fight stuff. I like hearing from Lesnar and White. So as far as the a-hole goes, the NBPA's the clear-cut winner. They are the ones not negotiating. The NBPA's are the heels in this case, and they have fucked away a season. The situation is totally different than the NFL strike, where the players had to fight for more and keep away the 18-game schedule, which would have been horrendous. I know why my favorite time basketball is Showtime, is this is when basketball was basketball. So it was very easy for me to vote for the NBA PA. Screw you.
Okay. D-Bag LaRue. Wow, he never says anything. Well, I think the NBPA fucked themselves over, but this has been brewing for weeks, maybe even months. Rex Ryan should be the asshole of the week. It doesn't matter who you are, whether it be a player, coach, or even an owner. You should always show respect to the fans, regardless if they love your team or despise your team with a passion. Ryan was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he got caught. Now he'll see a fine, and that's why he should be the asshole of the week.
Brian Anderson, that fight was all that was advertised for the whole show. How do people not understand that's all there was going to be? That decision was up to Fox, by the way, and Dana is Dana.
Okay.
And I agree with that. The only thing I think they could have maybe done differently is maybe they should have showed like a classic fight beforehand to get the fans integrated. But I saw the main complaint being that they're trying to attract new fans, and they feel that a short fight like that is going to make people think it's just like boxing and it's the same shit, where it's just a minute fight. But obviously, there's a lot more to it, and the set and the class of it all was definitely upped with the whole Fox presentation. So I think they're going to give it another show before they can officially bury it and say this was an awful idea.
What I would have done is I would have aired at least maybe each of their last fights. Maybe air Cain Velasquez knocking out Brock.
Yeah.
You know? So people get to know who he is, and maybe show Junior Dos Santos. I think that's his name, right? Yeah. His fight, you know, just get the fans into these two guys if they've never watched before. That's all. So they could have done it a little differently, but I don't see why. I don't have a problem with being. Who would have known? You know, who would have known? Jay Hinchy, David Stern, and the NBA canceling more games. They should just go ahead and cancel the rest of the season.
And Jeremy Nichols, our good friend, PETA, for not only attacking Mario for his Tanuki suit, but doing it 20 years after he first used it. The douchebags need to leave video games alone. I'm not really up on that story. I don't know if you are at all.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Okay. Maybe Jeremy can fill us in a little bit more.
Yes.
So, in defense of Rex Ryan, I will just say this. He was fired up. It was the halftime of a huge game. He's pissed off. Wrong place, wrong time. The fan said something. He shouted back. He shouldn't have shouted back. He's since apologized, and he'll probably pay his fine and move along. I mean, it's not like this is an isolated incident. It's not like it's an ongoing trend with him. And, I like coaches and players showing passion and fire. Should they be mouthing off at fans? No, but it's like he spit at the fan and threw something at him. Obviously, it was an important game and a heated moment. He was all pissed off still about the Sanchez thing, calling the timeout and all that shit. Patriots had just scored a touchdown, and this fan's taunting him and ragging on him. So, I can let it slide. If it becomes a trend, maybe I can see it being a little bit more. I think the clear winner here should be the NBA. Still both sides. I don't think the owners are off the hook. Just because they're presenting a deal, they're still putting a deadline on it, and the deal's still not really that fair. So, and I want to say this, though. If anyone's really interested, because you and I are not as up on this thing, and are probably not the best people to be completely talking about it, turn yourselves over to the Bill Simmons podcast he did. It's a 2-part show. He did it with Rick Bucher and Mark Stein, and they really got into every angle of this thing. It was very informative. I found it. I listened to the whole thing today. So I just implore you guys, if you're really interested in that stuff, go over to his website and check that out.
Right. I think what's pissing off fans as it has nothing to do with the actual meat and potatoes of it's that they are so apathetic towards the NBA fan base. I don't know how many times in the last 3 months, JR, that you've said that last season, particularly the postseason, was one of the best postseasons in a long time in the NBA. Last year was a great NBA playoffs. We had a great NBA Finals. We had a nice feel-good story with the Mavs winning and Nowitzki and Jason Kidd. And they don't give two shits what you think. That's what the feeling is. They don't give a fuck.
And the arrogance that they just assume that everyone's going to come back after. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. And I think it's going to be bad. This isn't like, look, the NFL, yes, that was a disaster. But at least they would mention, we need the fans. We're just letting you know we're working this out. We want you to know that we care about you, and we're going to try and, get the season going. And all the Billy Hunter and Derek Fisher whine about is, we're being abused. This is unfair. We're getting screwed. It's all about them. At least Smith and the guys leading the NBA, the NFL union said we're talking about the fans. And the same thing with Goodell. Even though Goodell's like a Gestapo, at least he actually said things about the fans as well. But I've liked opinions of guys like Kobe, who's like, you know what? Screw all of you. I'm going to Turkey and I'm making some money. I'm not sitting here wasting time with this crap. Or Carmelo Anthony, who's like, you know what, guys? I just want to play. Cut the crap. What's with all these players standing behind the podium like they're the, I don't know, like they're the mafia or something, like they're all angry and what do you got to be angry about?
Well, I could see why they were angry. I mean, everyone's like, oh, they're still making this much money, that much money, but I mean, they are slashing their profits from 57 to 50, which I think is more than fair. I mean, it's 7% of all income that they're taking away from them, and there's a lot of flaws in that system and everything else, but I still think there's going to be a season, to be honest with you, because I think once they really get into January, they've been missing 3 months worth of checks. I still think they're going to cave because I don't think there's that many players that can really live their lives without this money. So I think in the end they're going to cave, and I think they're going to end up doing a season like they did in '99, where it's basically just 3 months in the playoffs. That's what I think in the end it'll be.
50-game run. All right, we'll see. So as much as I almost was going to give it to Dana White, but it seemed like more people were defending him on this thread than slamming him. So the place to be nation asshole of the week is the entire NBA lockout situation, owners and players and everybody else.
It's starting to run away with this competition.
Yes, yeah. Obviously, and as Justin mentioned, the Penn State thing just doesn't count anymore.
Right, yeah.
Because we already know they're assholes. They're assholes of the universe.
Yep.
And anyway, some of the couple of notes that have come up, that guy McQuarrie now is saying in an email that he did go into the shower and break the thing up, and it's just getting so tough.
I told you.
Did you what?
Oh, good.
No, I was going to say, did you see you heard about the Bob Costas interview?
Yes, and that one wasn't bad, but the disaster was the Armin Katayan one. Last night where he interviewed McQuarrie and said he was going to let us all into his soul. And it was like a 7-second interview where he didn't even say anything. Yeah. And of course, the best thing Armin Katayan's ever done was getting smacked around by Vince during that.
By Vince, yeah, pretty much. But Costas had Joe Amendola, who is Jerry Sandusky's attorney, on. And all of a sudden, Joe Amendola, well, you know what? Jerry's listening. Why don't we call him?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, what?
Yeah, I don't know. And then, Scott, if I asked you on the spot, do you find young boys attractive? Are you going to immediately defend yourself, or are you going to stammer around and try and think of an answer and repeat the question?
No, I'm not. No. And he goes, are you a pedophile? No. Are you sexually attracted to boys?
Am I sexually attractive to boys? No, I'm not. I just like hanging out.
I like horsing around in the shower. Did you how could the guy said that with a straight face? Yeah, we did horse around in the shower. You're a naked man in the shower with naked boys.
And then I don't know if you heard what the lawyer said. He's like, well, he's a jock, and that's what jocks do. They horse around. He's just a kid. He's never grown up. And they're basically using the Michael Jackson defense. And we all saw how that worked out for him. So, I mean, this isn't going to end well.
No, it's a disaster. And a lot of it also, and everyone says that obviously Penn State played last week. They lost 17-14 to Nebraska. They were down 17-0, made a comeback at the end. Joe Paterno's son, Jay, who's the quarterback's coach, got a standing ovation as he was leaving the field. But that whole university just destroyed themselves. They put up a wall. They protected their image. They protected their logo, their brand, and fucked themselves in the end. And maybe these college presidents and these college coaches will realize you're not bigger than the game. All right, you help run the game, but you're not the game itself. Right. So don't act like you're holier than thou and you're high and mighty. And last night, and I'm not a Duke fan by any stretch, but of course on Tuesday night, Mike Krzyzewski broke the all-time record for wins as a Division I head coach. Duke beat Michigan State at the Garden, and he now has 903 wins. And the first thing he says is, I'm just a coach who coaches. Now, Tim Brando, who's a well-known CBS host who does a radio show on my client's network, said that he's the greatest coach of any organized sport ever. That's a stretch. That's a bit much. I don't even think he's the greatest college basketball coach of all time. The greatest college basketball coach of all time is John Wooden. Mike Krzyzewski, when he gets to 11 national championships, then he can pass it. So anyway, I just wanted to say that.
And I told you before this whole thing even broke that I don't trust gingers. I think they have no soul. So that was proven by this McQuarrie fellow.
That is quite true. All right. Okay. We don't have time for any hot stove. We'll get more into it next week. Justin Verlander, it's just some of the postseason awards. Hellickson won the AL Rookie of the Year. Kimbrel won the NL Rookie of the Year. Joe Madden won the AL Manager of the Year. Kirk Gibson, that bastard, won the NL Manager of the Year. And Justin Verlander won the American League Cy Young Award. They haven't announced the National League one yet, right? I think that's today. I think that's tomorrow.
Yeah,
Thursday.
no, they have not.
And then, of course, the 2 MVPs have not been announced yet. And Matt Kemp, this floored me. Quickly, Matt Kemp signed an 8-year, $160 million extension with the Dodgers. Yep. And the first thing I asked is, whose money is it?
Yeah, well, they had to do it, though. They had to do it. They could not let him walk.
Well, apparently the 3 prospective owners of the Dodgers who won that auction allowed them. So it's actually Major League Baseball's money, and the prospective owners are paying them back.
Okay.
So that's how that's
they had to do it, and they're going to end up locking up Kershaw as well. Big name obviously there is Pujols. The Marlins ended up making it off for 9 years, but now they're saying it was under $200 million. So it looks like there's rumors that he's going to sign with the Cardinals back on Friday, but we'll see. Obviously, Jose Reyes, heavily rumored towards the Marlins as well. And it looks like maybe they'd move Hanley to either third or the outfield, so be interesting there. And then that's really as far as big names goes and rumors go. Obviously, C.J. Wilson and his agent are trying to drag the Yankees into things, keep requesting meetings and everything else, trying to have it look like the Yankees are interested to drive up his price. But Yankees have pretty much said they're not interested unless his price is low and his years are low, so they don't really need him. He's more of a luxury than anything. So I don't see him ending up there unless he takes a short deal, which I don't think he should.
Yeah, no, the Yankees should play this postseason cool. And incidentally, actually, one more note about baseball. I realized, and we'll get more into this in the spring, but next year, and you can all laugh if you want, but I got to get something to look forward to. Next year, the Mets turn 50.
Yeah, they celebrated with 50 wins.
All right, I'll let you have that one. They're not going to be that bad, but I need something to look forward to. They're going to have patches. They're fixing their uniforms up. Banner Day is coming back, so I might actually I didn't go to Citi Field this year. I'll try and get to at least a few games. So, all right. Enough baseball. We'll get more into that. Because the winter meetings don't start for a few weeks. We'll get more.
Well, they're meeting right now, right? Or is it the GM? What meetings are going on right now in Milwaukee?
The GM meetings. Yeah. The winter meetings are usually in December, and they're not in Milwaukee. They're usually like in Phoenix or Miami or some warm weather where the old guys can go to the pool or something or pick up escorts. I'm sure the winter meetings are not in Milwaukee. Usually they're in like San Diego, Phoenix, Miami, Dallas. Some kind of warm weather locale. But anyway, we'll do more hot stove as the winter progresses. But right now, we are up to the final portion of our program, and that is... Now, as of the moment, my PIC continues to have a 5-game lead on me. It is 90-85. It was a tough week last week. A lot of upsets, which seems to be the par for the course this season in the NFL. So let's dive into week number 11 of the NFL season. We have the last weekend of byes. After this week, everybody plays. And the following teams have the week off. Indianapolis, who seem to have the week off every week. New Orleans, Pittsburgh, which is huge. We'll talk about because Ben Roethlisberger broke his finger, apparently. And the Houston Texans, who don't have a quarterback either. Matt Schaub is out for the season. Interesting. All right. I'm glad this game is first because I want to get this out of the way. We begin on Thursday night on the NFL Network from Sports Authority Field at Mile High, where the Denver Broncos, who have suddenly won 3 of their last 4 games, take on the Jets, Jets. Now, I didn't watch the game Sunday night. I know that the game was close to the fourth quarter. So I'm not going to pretend to know how the pace of the game was or what happened or anything. So I'm just going to let you pontificate right now.
It was stupid. A lot of stupid plays. And what killed them was on the opening drive, they marched right down the field for the second week in a row and get no points. This time, they hit a beautiful slant to Santonio Holmes, but he slips and falls at the 10. He would have been in if he didn't slip. So they would have went up 7-0, which would have made things completely different. Then, Nick Folk, who's been very good all year, misses a chip shot, like 27-yarder. So, again, that kills him. Now they come up empty. Tom Brady marches down the field. Now the Jets' D, bent, didn't break for a while. They kept holding the pass to field goals. At one point, I think it was like 9 or 6-0, and then, honestly, it was all a blur, to be honest with you. I was so pissed off. But and I had a splitting headache from the Trinity Brewhouse Rotella celebration.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that evening.
Oh, Jesus. Anyone who's in this area, if you go to Trinity, be prepared. Their shit is very heavy. So anyway, so outside of that, it was just a lot of stupid plays. Anytime they had any momentum going, they got a penalty. And then the whole debacle at the end of the first half where Sanchez called a timeout, but he didn't let the clock run down to as far as it could. They were already like going to score anyway. They were like on the 4-yard line or something. And he calls a timeout with like a minute and a half left, and he could have ran it down to 50 seconds. And then Brady ends up marching in the field and scoring a touchdown before the half. And Rex Ryan, they reported after the half, he called it the stupidest play in football history. And that's, of course, right before that's when he swore at the fans. So then it looked like the Jets were going to march back. The defense held at the half, coming out of the half, which is huge. They went 3-and-out, and then Joe McKnight fumbles the fucking punt. The Patriots get a field goal, and then Jets come down, score. So now they're only down 7, and you think, okay, maybe they'll make a run. But for the second time this year, when playing the Patriots, the defense could not stop them and get off the field when they needed to. Patriots scored, went up 14. Sanchez throws a stupid interception in his own end zone basically, and Nincompoop there runs it in, and they go up 21, and that was the game. So. A lot of stupid mistakes again. For the second time this year, I thought the Jets could have won that game. And their offensive line has not looked good in these few games against New England. And Sanchez didn't have a lot of time. I'm not saying he played his best game of the year, but again, if he's not having time, he gets skittish and starts rushing his throws. And the play to Holmes was a big one, because if he doesn't slip and fall, they go up 7-0 and they're flying high with confidence. I still think Brian Schottenheimer needs to go. Their offense has no flow at all. I watch all these other teams that just go up and down the field, get first downs, and I just feel like everything seems to be a process for them. Like, they can't just easily get that movement. And it seems like anytime they get any momentum, they kill it with some kind of stupid play. And, the Patriots at one point had, 8 guys back to defend against the pass because their pass defense is not that good. And the Jets why don't you run the ball? They were rushing 3 guys. Why not run up the middle on them? Sean Green was actually running pretty well. And the other stupid play was the interception that bounced off Sean Green's face mask because Sanchez hummed it at him. And that was an interception that really swung the game. But I don't get why they had Sean Green in there if it's going to be a pass. Why not put LT or McKnight in there? Why have Sean Green has stone hands? So why do you have him in there running into the flat for a pass like that? It just doesn't make sense to me. So a lot of things that were annoying. That said, they need to win this game. I think they do win this game. The good thing with them is their pass defense is so good that they can just leave Revis and Cromartie on islands. And Tebow's going to throw his 6 or 7 times, and they can just load up against the run and put their big bodies up there and the linebackers up there and stuff the box. So they should be able to throw on Denver as well. And even though I'm a little worried, mainly because it's a short week, coming off a late night game against New England, going into Denver into the thin air, I can see them coming out a little sluggish early. But if their D keeps them in it, I think their offense will pick it up. No LaDainian Tomlinson, he's out this week. So Bilal Powell will get his first career start. I like the Jets here, obviously in a must-win game for them. A lot of these games are must-win because New England's got the division now. They're just going to stay ahead of the wild card.
I concur. I think the Jets just have more talent.
If they lose this game, it's over. I might as well fold up shop.
Yeah, and this is not a walk in the park. The Broncos are playing with a lot of confidence, but Denver's defense still is pretty horrible. And Tebow will not rush for 100 yards against the Jet defense. You guys just got to go out and start smacking him in the mouth. And play hard, period. And I like your chances in this game. The short week doesn't annoy me, but if you guys were going to Oakland or San Diego,
no, I think Denver's worse
like
though, because they're going into the thin air. And this really was a dick move by the schedulers. I think the Jets really got hosed, having to play a night game against a big division rival and then fly to Denver of all places. If Denver was coming in and they had a short week at home, or they were going somewhere on the East Coast, it's one thing. But to have to fly cross country into the thin air is really kind of a hose job.
Okay. Just be careful. We don't want we don't want LaRue going on Facebook saying you're pretending to be Adrian Gonzalez or anything, because we know that's what he'll do. So, no, I mean, it's the only reason I'm saying this is because at least you're playing a team clearly you have more talent than.
No, that's true. That's true.
But on a short week, you go to Qualcomm and play the Chargers. I think you're screwed.
I mean, Tebow is a little worrisome because you never know what the hell he's going to pull out. But I mean, I can't see him throwing. If he only had 2 completions last week against who the fuck? Who did they play last week?
The
last
Jets?
week, Kansas City? No, Kansas City. If they only had 2 completions in Kansas City, what do you think they're going to do against the Jets? Him throwing.
Yeah.
So they're just going to worry about him running, and it looks like McGahee's going to be out too. So it's going to be ball running on there. So I'm always worried, but I'm not too concerned.
No, I like you guys in this game as well. I think you have more talent, and now it's time to nut up and get the job done, because you can't paint yourselves in any more corners. You're running out of corners to be painted into. So I like the Jets in that one as well. All right, so that's the Thursday night game. Let's get into Sunday. There are 7 1 o'clock games, 4 4 o'clock games. We got the NBC game and then the Monday night game. We begin at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, where this game, historically back in the 80s when these two teams were horrible, used to be called the Bay of Pigs. Well, it is kind of the Bay of Pigs again, although this one's more one-sided. This game is not going to be pretty. This is my lock of the week. I think the Bucs, I thought they were going to be better than they are, but they're not. And the Packers right now are just, Aaron Rodgers is just playing on another time zone right now. And they're just playing unbelievable football right now. Defense is has its moments where it shows some weakness, but it's not going to happen here. I think the Packers win in a roll.
Yeah, me too. Tampa was probably my worst pick of the year last week, picking them. I really thought they would get that game, or at least be competitive in that game at home in a must-win for them. They're done now. I don't think they really have much of a shot at anything. They look listless. Houston has ran up and down all over them, and I think, in Green Bay, they don't stand a chance. And then after this, really, Green Bay's got Detroit, and then after that, they got a pretty damn good chance of going undefeated this year.
Next up, we go to Ford Field in Detroit, and this is a must-win for the Lions. They've lost, 3 in a row now?
Yep.
Or 3 of their last 4 after, and they looked god-awful on Sunday night in a loss to the Bears. They got mollywomped, and this time it's not going to happen. They host Carolina. Panthers did not look very good last week in losing to Tennessee. I'm taking the Lions at home. This is a must-win for them, particularly going into their big home game on Thursday.
Yeah, I think they get things back on track. I think their defense is good enough to stifle Cam Newton in the running game. Obviously, they have very good run defense. So I think Stafford kind of turns things around and gets things going here up at home against Carolina.
All right. Next up, we go to Brown Stadium in Cleveland, where, this is the Molly Whomper of the week. The Cleveland Browns host Jacksonville. Good Lord. I don't even know what to make of this. You know what? Cleveland didn't look that bad defensively in losing to St. Louis, and the Rams, I think, have a lot more talent than Jacksonville, so I'm going to take the Browns at home. I think they got to win this game. Jacksonville's just horrible. I'm going to give Cleveland the benefit of the doubt for the home game, so I will take the Browns. This is
my it's not really much of an upset, but I'll take it. Upset of the week. I'll take Jacksonville here. I think we wrote them off 1 week too soon last week. I think they deserve better than what we gave them, saying that the Colts were going to beat them. Their defense, I forgot how good their defense actually is. They've done really well against some good teams going into that Indy game. And, Blaine Gabbert's serviceable enough, but I think MJD runs all over Cleveland. And Cleveland, they probably should have won that game if the kicker didn't miss the field goal, but I don't know. They just, I can't see McCoy doing much against Jacksonville's defense, which has been pretty good. So I like Jacksonville here in the upset.
Okay. Next up, we move to the Mall of America Field in Minnesota, where the Vikings host the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders coming off, they won at home.
They beat San Diego.
Week. They beat San Diego last week in the Sunday night game, in the Thursday night game, and then the Vikings were just another victim. In the immortal words of Taz, just another victim on Monday night, getting our favorite word now, mollywomped by the Packers. I like Christian Ponder. He's put up some decent numbers under the circumstances. I'm going to take the Vikings at home. I think they'll hang around in this game. McFadden's still hurt. Carson Palmer's still kind of a tool, and still kind of out of his element here. Still getting his feet wet. I'm going to take the Vikings at home.
A week ago, I probably agree with you, but Oakland looked really good on Thursday night. Michael Bush has been resurrected. He has had a monster week, and he's been very, very good since McFadden got hurt. Palmer, I wrote him off maybe a week too soon as well. He looked really good the other night, threw a few touchdowns, and Demarius Moore is looked at, not Demarius Moore. I always get him and the other guy. It was Demarius Moore is from, I don't know. One of the guys I think of is from Denver, and the other guy is from Oakland. I get them confused.
Yeah, I don't. I get
the guy who had like 3 touchdowns Thursday night.
Yeah.
Has been breaking out, and I like Oakland here. I think they pick up the win on the road.
All right, let me take a quick check of the. Let me see if I can get the name here. But Moore. Oh, this guy Moore. The receiver,
yeah.
right? For it's Denarius Moore.
Denarius Moore, and it's Demarius Thomas, is the guy from Denver. So yeah,
Denarius Moore is the kid from
yeah. So Moore, I think he looks pretty legitimate to me, and for them to go into San Diego and win that game, I think they can go into Minnesota here and beat up on Ponder and the Vikings. Okay. But you know what? It's the fucking Raiders, so I'm sure they'll screw me like they always do.
All right. Next up, we go to the future home. The future home of WrestleMania 28, Sun Life Stadium in Miami. Could it be 3 in a row?
No.
For the Dolphins. Miami hosts the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo got MW'd on Sunday. Totally throttled by the Dallas Cowboys. Miami wins their second straight over the Redskins. I mean, if this game was in Buffalo, I think I would take the Bills. I don't know. I think the Dolphins are playing on a different plane of existence right now. But I'm going to go against my better judgment. I'm going to go on paper here, and I'm going to take the Bills on the road. I think Buffalo will rebound. It'll be a good game. I think Miami's defense will play tough, but I think Buffalo has enough talent. I think Fitzpatrick will rebound, have a good game, and I'm going to take the Bills on the road. But I would not be surprised if Miami won this game.
All right, I threw you off the scent. I am taking Miami at home. I think Matt Moore's actually looked better. I think Buffalo's reeling. They just get destroyed in Dallas. Fred Jackson still looks like he's maybe slowing down a little bit. He's still very dangerous. Miami's D, underrated. They've been playing very well. Brandon Marshall's been playing well, and they look a little bit reinvigorated here. And personally, I need Buffalo to lose. So I want to root for Miami, so I'm taking Miami.
What are you, the cerebral assassin of NFL picks? You're like, I think I'm going to make him pick Buffalo. No, I like the Bills, but again, I would be surprised if Miami wins this game. All right, speaking of the Redskins, we move on now to FedEx Field in our nation's capital, where the nastiest rivalry in the history of the NFL, well, not the history.
The history of America, really, Cowboys and Indians.
Yeah, well, it is. The Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. This is the 4-game stretch for the Cowboys where they just need to take advantage of everything. Last week they beat up on the Bills, and this week they play obviously a much, much less talented Redskin team. There is no excuse that the Cowboys don't come in and punch these guys in the face. I'm taking the Cowboys on the road. Everything looked great last week. Offensively, they were looking good. Robinson was beating secondary DBs left and right. DeMarco Murray's running very well. Felix Jones is back. He'll be his backup. Romo is not making mistakes. He's taking his time. The offensive line's blocking. Secondary is finally starting to not look really old, although Fitzpatrick really threw some pretty lousy passes on Sunday. But then again, now they're facing John Beck. So I'm taking the Cowboys. This should be an easy one. Of course it won't be. They'll make me sweat it out for 3 quarters and then pull away in the 4th quarter. But I like the Cowboys here on the road.
Our Cowboys are looking good. I told you all along to believe, to have faith in Tony Romo, and he's delivered. He's now says that he's 100% healthy, which is good. He looked very good against Buffalo, and I like them here to stomp all over Washington. I don't see much of a competition for them.
I don't either. Let's move on to M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, and this pisses me off. 1 week after a great
I am so pissed, by the way. I'm sorry. I wanted to take Seattle. I even said it on the show, but I didn't have the balls to pull the trigger.
I know. But this makes me so angry. 1 week after a physically emotional, huge primetime win over the Steelers in Pittsburgh, they fly to Seattle and lay another fart bomb against the inferior Seahawks team. Really makes me mad. John Harbaugh should be ashamed, and I hope he slammed these guys in the post-game meeting.
That's why I don't know what if Baltimore has what it takes. They have these lapsed games. They're like the Giants. They have these lapsed games.
I know. It's really frustrating. Yeah. And this week they host Cincinnati, and the Bengals hung around on Sunday against the Steelers. That game was not a blowout like everyone thought it was going to be. You know what? just because they're at home, I'm going to give them another chance. I'm going to take the Ravens. But I tell you, they better not play like they did, because I mean, Andy Dalton will take advantage of a sloppy defense, and he's one of these guys that isn't fazed by any kind of pressure or anything like that, or he takes his time in the pocket for a kid who's only 22 years old. So I'm going to take the Ravens at home, but I would be surprised if the Bengals sneak up on them if the Ravens play another bad game. I don't think they will at home.
Yeah, I'm taking Baltimore as well. Two big pieces are out for Cincy now. They lost Jonathan Joseph for the year, which is a major blow. And it looks like A.J. Green may not be playing this week either. So against a tough defense as it is. And the defense still played well up in Seattle. I mean, Seattle, where they have 5 field goals or whatever. So I think they come home and bounce back. And Cincy, I think, continues to tumble down a little bit.
Right, okay. All right, we now move on to the 4 o'clock games. We go to Candlestick Park in San Francisco, where the 49ers pretty much have the division wrapped up at this point.
Yeah, yeah. And who told you they were going to beat the Giants? Someone, right?
You did. No, you said they beat the Giants, but it was a game they should have won. I mean, they made just as many stupid mistakes as your team did against the Patriots. It was a game they should have won. And Eli, one of his 2 picks though, you got to blame Manningham, who begged off on a route, and the guy had an easy pick. But the Niners just are playing great football right now, both sides of the ball. Their defense has not given up a 100-yard rusher in 31 straight games.
Nope.
They're hosting the Cardinals. This game's not even going to be close. I like the Niners at home.
No, I mean Red Skelton, your buddy there, has actually looked pretty good. They got the upset in Philly, which is a very big win for them. Mm-hmm. And but I think that ends here. I think San Fran's D is much superior to Philadelphia. So San Fran at home keeps on rolling. He gets one more step closer to wrapping up this division.
Okay. Next up, we move to the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis, where the Rams will host the Seattle Seahawks, who are a great, obviously, very motivated home team, but a pretty awful road team. And the Rams, again, didn't look that bad. The offense still a little shaky. Defense looked good last week, but they were playing Cleveland. But they're playing a team that's really not that much better. So I'm going to take the Rams at home.
Me too. I feel bad. I'm not picking any. Not bad, but I get nervous when I pick no underdogs other than Jacksonville. But I like St. Louis here too. If this was in Seattle, I'd be taking them. But St. Louis at home. Brandon Lloyd's getting more acclimated to that offense. Steven Jackson's been running well, and really, if they shut down Marshawn Lynch, there's not much Seattle's going to do. So,
okay. Next to the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, where the Falcons, coming off a tough loss to the Saints, which pretty much ends their chances of winning that division. They host the
very
Tennessee
similar,
Titans,
by the way, to the Jets. I looked at those teams the same. Like that was games they needed to win to usurp control of those divisions and knock out the bully, and they both choked it away.
Yeah. Both teams we had going to the Super Bowl. Anyway, the Falcons. I mean, the Falcons still have a chance for a wild card. There's no doubt about that. But the Falcons host Tennessee. This is a game they obviously need to win, and I think they will. I don't think Tennessee might have looked good on the road in Carolina, but the Falcons are not.
Tennessee, though, are they smelling a little blood in the water right now with Matt Schaub's out for the year now out in Houston, and they have a chance to get back in this division.
Maybe.
They're only 2 out right now, but I can't see them going into Atlanta. I think Atlanta's D will shut down Tennessee and get this win here. But Atlanta's got to be careful because right now they really got to hope against Detroit because Detroit is the team they're going to be battling with. Because I think Chicago's going to have one of the wild cards locked up, and it's going to come down to the Giants. I think the Cowboys are going to win the East. I think it'll come down to the Giants, Lions, and Falcons fighting over that second wild card.
Okay, all right. So we both like the Falcons at home. Speaking of the Bears, we go to Soldier Field in Chicago, where the Bears coming off a very emotional win, big win last week over Detroit. They host the San Diego Chargers. I like the Bears at home here. It's a much more needed win for them. I think the defense will frustrate Rivers. I think the weather will be in their favor. It's supposed to be a little brisk in Chicago. Cutler seems to be playing well. The offensive line has really been the key here because Jay Cutler has gotten time to throw the ball. He hasn't made any silly mistakes. They're running the ball well. Forte, I always call him Forte. Ford is running the ball very well. I like.
You're right.
It is Forte. I thought it was. It didn't sound right when I first said it, but yeah, Forte is running the ball great, and I like the Bears here at home.
Me too. San Diego. You know how I feel about them. I have no faith in them at all. And they shit the bed against Oakland, and I guess Chicago's playing red hot right now. And Earl Bennett's been stepping up and playing well. Hester's running the ball back on kicks and punts like a madman as always. Cutler's looks sharp, and the D has been very, very good. So if they can beat Detroit the way they did, I can't see San Diego doing much.
Okay. And finally on Sunday, we have the primetime NBC game from from the Snoopy Bowl, MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands. Second straight week that the Snoopy Bowl has the primetime game, and that is the New York Football Giants hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants looked good, but made too many mistakes in the end to beat the Niners. The Eagles are just circling the bowl. It is the most delicious bowl of revenge and irony that we've drank and eaten all year long. I have enjoyed seeing the Eagles fall flat on their face. Vince Young, who hasn't played it down this year, called them the dream team. Well, they're the dream team for the Cowboys.
Well, now he's
and the
going
Giants.
to be playing either him or Kafka, because it looks like Vic is out. Macklin may be out as well. So
yeah, so they're done. They're baked. And I think the Giants go in there at home in a hyped up crowd, and I think they step on their throat. I'm taking the Giants.
Yeah, I think the Giants put them away this week as well.
Yeah, and I think it's coming down. It's coming down the pike now, folks. It is going to come down to my Cowboys and our man Andy Flanagan's Giants.
I think it's going to come down to your Cowboys, honestly, because the Giants have a very, very hard schedule.
Yes, they do.
And at the end of this little 3-game stretch we've talked about, is it 3 or 4 games before they play the Giants again?
There's 3 more. They got Washington this week, and they got Miami Thanksgiving, and then Arizona.
Yeah, so I mean, the Cowboys can go into their 8-4, and if they knock the Giants off, they really take a job. Have they played yet, those 2 teams?
No.
Okay,
nope.
so they get 2 more to go.
Yeah, they play in 4 weeks, and then they play in the finale on New Year's weekend.
Okay, so that could be a big game. I think Dallas will probably have the division locked up at that point.
Okay, and then finally the Monday night game at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. This is a no-brainer. The Patriots host the Chiefs. No Matt Castle. No return to New England.
I don't think that's probably not a big deal at this point. The way he's been playing.
But Palco starts, and this game's not even going to be close.
No.
Thanks to you guys, the Pats are back on cloud 9 after they were kicked in the nuts for a couple
weeks. They get the division locked up. Their schedule from here on out is cakewalk. I think this is my lock of the week. They destroy Kansas City at home on Monday night.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Patriots win
the
as
Pink
well.
Hats will be back out in mass after their hiding.
Of course. And Charrington is the greatest guy in the world as they're about to hire Dale Swaim as their manager.
Yeah.
Everybody will be scoring from first on singles.
Too bad half of the fan base doesn't know who the fuck Dale Swaim is.
No, pretty much. All right, folks. There you go. There is your cornucopia of fun and games for episode 82 of the Place to Be podcast. We hope you enjoyed it.
Now, I told you I had a special outro song.
Oh, yes. You do have a special outro song.
That's right.
Oh God!
All right.
Where is that Emmy winner Chris Lemon when you need him?
Yes. So, okay. So as we said, that wraps things up. We hope you enjoyed our show this week. I made it through without drooling over my microphone like Mr. Rotella.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is a good thing. So with that said, we will be talking to you later this week, of course, in lieu of doing a Vintage Vault. We'll be bringing you Survivor Series Listomania, but we have a twist this time around. Mm-hmm. Usually we give you a bunch of lists. This week you're only going to get 2 lists. But one of them is me and Scott ranking all 132 Survivor Series teams throughout history. We're going to go through each and every one of them, rank all 132 for you from least to greatest. So look forward to that. We think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to We'll still put up a thread for you guys to share like old Survivor Series memories and stuff for us to read some feedback. So we'll be doing that on Friday night. And then, of course, next week we'll be back with the headlines. And we're hoping to do a Vintage Vault next week, even with the short week. With Scott will actually be here on Friday. But I'm thinking maybe Thanksgiving night we may be able to squeeze one out for you. So
yeah,
so with that said, I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll come back to you Friday with some Survivor Series action. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And I guess that's it, Scott.
No, and everyone enjoy the rest of the week. We will list it up for you on Friday.
All right, talk to you then. Take care.
Peace.